What's going on, everybody? This is The Style Boxing. I am your host. This is the 66th edition of the Round Table here on YouTube. Shout out to everybody on the audio version as well. iHeart, Spotify, all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and get this show started. I'm being joined, of course, by Maestro Rob of Mano a Mano. Make sure you check them out. New start time. What was the start time? What's the start time now?
We're going to be going live around 5:30 now, D-Star.
Okay, 5:30, that's Maestro Rob Boxing. Make sure you guys check that out. We also have Don here from Inside the Ring. So make sure you check out his podcast, guys. Inside Boxing, I'm sorry. Inside Boxing, make sure you check that out. Right, great stuff. Where can they find your stuff, brother?
Yeah, you can find it on Inside Boxing Live. It's on Pluto TV. Streams on Fubo Sports. You can get it on YouTube. You can watch it. You listen to it on Spotify, iTunes. Inside Boxing Live. Just had Dame Lillard on the show. Portland Trailblazers. Huge boxing fan. I had Roy Jones on this month. Bernard Hopkins. It's been a good month for the show. So go check that out if you're interested in that.
Hey, great stuff right there. Great stuff. I've had a bunch of people that have like the ring, right? So anyway, Boxing Wave, how's it going, brother?
Everything is good. Everything is good. Busy as hell, but everything is going great, man. Can't complain. Glad to be back.
You guys got to subscribe to Boxing Wave. Been on here for a while here on YouTube. Make sure you check out his content. Great stuff, right? And of course, Joe B from Ringside Reporter every Sunday. Make sure you check them out as well. Let's just go ahead and get this started, okay? Let's right to it, right out of the gate. This weekend, we all know about the big. I know all you guys are excited for this fight, okay? Keith Thurman, ladies and gentlemen. Keith, one-time Thurman. Once upon a time, he was who he was, right? He's back. He says he's back. All right, he's calling out everybody, and it's going to start off with Mario Barrios. Here's what I'm going to ask you guys. Everybody here has probably already broken down the fight on your platforms, okay? So you could do that a little bit. What I'm asking here, let's go ahead and give me the percentage chance that you're giving Keith Thurman and Mario Barrios to win this fight. Like 60% Thurman, 40% Barrios, etc., something like that. And tell us why and all that good stuff. I'll start with you, Maestro A Boxing. Not the Mets' chances to win another World Series. That's like 1%. I'm talking about the fight.
So, I mean, you've given us your preview 60-40. I mean, that's very.
That was an example.
Was it an example? Okay, I'm glad you're setting that record straight, because realistically, Mario Barrios should have a 0% chance of winning this fight. And let me tell you why. He just got knocked out by a super featherweight, or we could call it junior lightweight if you prefer, in Gervonta Tank Davis, a guy who, for the most part, is pretty unproven even at 135 pounds. Now, well, why do you say that, Maestro? Well, it's very simple. He's beaten two dudes at 135. The first one was obviously the Cuban in Yuriorkis Gamboa, who, by the way, was on a very bad Achilles and was, let's face facts, past it. The second fight at 135, which, by the way, happened after he knocked out Barrios, was against the unheralded Isaac Pitbull Cruz. I'm not impressed. Okay, I'm not impressed by Tank Davis's record at 135 pounds. His only fight at 140 was against this dude, Mario Barrios, for the WBA 140-pound Reggie title. So somebody's got to explain to me how a guy who got knocked out by a guy whose only body of work at 135 pounds was against Gamboa and Isaac Pitbull Cruz has any shot at a former unified welterweight champion of the world. And I'm talking about Keith, one-time Thurman. So,
hey,
look,
I can tell you about this fight. You're excited. Go ahead.
I'm trying to hype up the people a little bit here, okay? Because this is a bad fight, all right? The only reason to buy this fight is if you get super chats like I do, or if you're looking for a knockout and you like knockouts. Because if Keith Thurman doesn't get a knockout in this fight, he needs to retire and take up the mic game because he's pretty vicious on the mic. If he can't knock out Barrios, it's time for one time to leave the sport as an active fighter. So to answer your question real quick, D-Style, 99.99 to 0.
Oh, come on.
0.01. That's Maestro's
Jesus
breakdown.
Christ. 99.9 for Thurman, I'm assuming, right?
99.99.
Okay, gotcha.
You got to get that last integer, dog.
You guys see how we got all excited? Like, Thurman! Like okay, all right, cool, you know? All right. I get you, Maestro. I get you. Dan, talk to us, brother.
It's hard to follow that up. That was very, very impressive. I give Barrios a very good shot in this fight, mostly because Keith Thurman hasn't fought in over 2 years. I said on one of my shows or one of the podcasts I appeared on that Keith Thurman is an enigma. You don't know what you're going to get with Keith Thurman. Are we going to get the 2016, 2017 Keith Thurman when he was the unified welterweight champion, when he beat Danny Garcia and Sean Porter back to back? Or are we going to get the Keith Thurman that struggled with Josecito Lopez, who hit the canvas in the first round against Manny Pacquiao? But the reason I say he's an enigma is because he rallied late against Pacquiao. He landed the most power shots ever on Manny Pacquiao, and we all know how long Manny Pacquiao fought. Keith looked good in that fight. I mean, I was there ringside counting the punches. He was landing serious leather, but that was almost 2.5, 3 years ago. So I really have no idea. Ring rust is a major thing. Desire, I don't know if it's there. I don't know why Keith is fighting at this point. I think it's strictly for money, and that's never a good thing. Yes, Barrios got knocked out by Gervonta Davis, but he did have some moments with Davis. He is a rangy fighter, and he also throws a lot of body shots. He throws well above the weight class average or the active average in terms of body shots. And as we know, guys, I think you all know this, Keith Thurman does not like getting hit to the body. So I'd give Barrios a very good shot in this fight, mostly because of ring rust on Thurman's part, and I just don't know exactly if he has that fire anymore.
All right. So what do you got percentage-wise?
Oh, right, yes. With all that being said, I give I still think it's a 60-40 fight for Thurman.
All right, well said. Okay. Shout out to Riding Yogi, Chauncey Pearls, Centrin's son, Stephen, in the ring with Christine. We got Chicano Prophet, No Paul. All you guys, man, SSC, shout out to you. All right, the Don in the building. How's it going, the Don? Let's go ahead and continue this boxing wave. Talk to us about this fight and what percentage chance you give each guy here.
I'm giving it a 65-35% chance for Keith Thurman. You know, I think the biggest thing is I just don't know. I would probably give Keith more. I was one of the people that was very disappointed when I found out he was fighting Mario Barrios. But I just don't know where he's at 2.5 years. 2.5 years layoff. I don't know. And if he's terrible that night, I mean, I'm still picking him to win the fight at the very least, at his worst. But I mean, he should be winning this fight. Again, Mario Barrios, a lot of people are talking about the size right now because of the face-off they had. And I'm like, we should have at least waited to the weigh-in, or the night that they're in the ring before we started really comparing their sizes, because Barrios started at like 122, as a professional boxer. And I think Keith Thurman has fought at 147 his whole career, even above 147. And everyone is saying Barrios is bigger. And I'm like, yes, he's taller, he's rangier, but he's wearing a very big buffy, like bulky baseball jacket at the face-off yesterday. And everyone's saying he's bigger than Keith Thurman. I'm like, let's wait and see how he looks on the night of the fight. I think Keith Thurman wins. I predicted Keith Thurman to stop him within 8. But I think he has a chance based on we just don't know where Keith is right now, and this is his first fight back. And also the point Maestro brought up earlier, he was already stopped by a lightweight, that moved up. He just knocked out Leo Santa Cruz at 130, moved up, knocked him out at 140. If he gets hit by Keith Thurman, he's going to feel it. He's going to go down.
In the ring, Christine says 50-50 fight. Thurman has the power. Citron Sun 80-70. That math doesn't even add up. Okay, we'll take it. The Dawn 60-40. All right, Maestro is insisting 99.99. Okay, there we go. That's by default, probably.
Maestro's doubling down.
Yeah, he's doubling down for sure. You know what I mean?
He said it and then he typed it.
Yeah, he's saying he's typing it. He's probably thinking it. He's
He's
tripling
going to
down.
sign language it next.
I don't want anybody coming back and saying, "Oh no, Maestro, you didn't say that." No, it's in the chat.
There you go.
Check the records. Okay, it's official.
I like this one. 40% Thurman, 40% Barrios, 10% Ross's haplotype. Joe Habib, talk to us.
Well, this is a very intriguing fight to me, and a lot of people are very sour on it, but I'm intrigued because I want to see what version of Keith Thurman we're going to get. Like Dan said, Dan made a lot of great points about, the body work of Barrios and Keith Thurman not liking it to the body, but Keith Thurman's greatest weapon has always been his legs. And ever since that Sean Porter fight, it seems like his legs had slowed down a bit, and there's been a steady decline that has gotten a little bit more and more with each fight. And I've noticed it when he had his last comeback against Josecito Lopez, where Josecito Lopez was able to catch up to him. And Keith Thurman's greatest weakness is when he runs out of room and there's no escape route and he gets trapped up against the ropes. He looks like a deer in the headlights sometimes, right? He's not a great inside fighter. And Barrios, another great point Dan made is he can punch pretty well up close. And he's long. And, I disagree with Wave a little bit. I think Barrios has grown into his man strength. I think he'll be stronger at 147. I think Barrios is very live here. I don't think Keith Thurman, his heart is in it anymore. I don't think his desire is in it. I think another great point by Dan, I think he's fighting solely for the money. And when that is the case, that's a problem, right? So I think this is a 55-45 fight, and I'm going to edge that, 55 to Thurman. And the odds makers have this real close too. Thurman's a minus 175 and Barrios is a plus 150. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Barrios is going to win this fight. I think he can pull it off. I don't think we're going to get the best version of Keith Thurman. I don't think we've seen the best version of Keith Thurman since that Sean Porter fight. And I think we've seen a steady decline, as I said, and I think it's going to continue to, go forth in decline when he fights Barrios this Saturday, man. I think it's going to be a tough ask for him. And he didn't look great against the Josecito Lopez matchup. And I can't see him being better in this fight.
Follow up to that, Joe?
Really quick, I got to go after
you.
Let
me finish the breakdown. You can go right after me. So I just don't think Keith Thurman is gonna be the best version of himself, and I don't think we'll ever see Keith Thurman as the best version of himself. And plus, another guy who's had a lot of injuries, sort of like when David Hayes started becoming injury ridden, that was the downfall of his career, and this could be the downfall of Keith Thurman's career.
Go ahead, Maestro.
No, I mean, I'm just hearing a lot of criticisms about Keith Thurman. I haven't heard anybody criticize Mario Barrios for getting knocked out by a 130-pounder in his very last fight.
I don't think Tank's 130-pounder.
Well, I mean, what has he done at lightweight? His best wins have been at 130 pounds. Did he look better against Santa Cruz or did he look better against Pitbull Cruz?
It's like this, right?
Did he look better? Okay, go ahead.
Well, we'll check it out. Look, it's like this, right?
I'd pick Tank to beat Thurman right now, too.
Man. Well, that's another story.
I will.
Well, look. Go ahead, B. Finish your point so I can go.
No, I said I would pick Tank to beat Thurman right now. I just don't think Thurman is that guy anymore. I think
what's happening, Maestro's taking Tank Davis to court. That's what's going on right now, right? He's putting the jury out and look, he's gonna prove that this dude ain't shit. Watch, but what if he does beat a Maestro? What if Mario Barrios goes on there and pulls the upset? Okay, and you're over here with your 0.01%. Okay, and you're like, oh, Keith Thurman, yeah, you can pump it up. Okay, you could use your diaphragm to say his name. You could sing it. Okay, you can rhyme it however you want. But let me just tell you right now, Mario Barrios is a live dog in this fight. Okay, I believe he was struggling to make the weight. Okay, at 140, and now guess what? I do think he's going to be stronger, and I do think he's going to perform better, right? We can call Tank Davis a 130-pounder all we want. I mean, that's the same thing. Isn't that the same shit Lomachenko fans are saying when he lost? Oh, he's a 126-pounder, though. He's such a little dude, right? Guys become the weight class they started at as soon as they lose a fight, okay?
Oh,
as soon as they're not proving something, they become the weight class. Well, hold on. Whoa, maestro. Like, let me cook. I know you're getting cooked, but you got to let me cook, all right? Check it out, okay? I'm picking Mario. I tweeted out when it was announced. I'm letting you guys know right now, all right? Mario Barrios, I believe, is going to win this fight. Keith Thurman's been out of the ring. The last time he was in the ring, he lost to – look, I have all the respect for Manny Pacquiao, but Manny Pacquiao was a 40-year-old man. Like, at the end of the day, he got dropped. You know what weight class Manny started at? It says, are we going to call him a 106-pounder or something? Right? At the end of the day, he's a little dude too. Right? No, I'm about the same height as Tank, I believe. Maybe an installer, but nonetheless, all right. I got Mario Barrios winning this fight. We understand that you don't need to repeat that. You don't think he's going to win. Is that what you're going to say? Go ahead.
I'm not going to say that. There seems a lot of criticism of me saying that he got locked out by a junior lightweight. Let me ask the panel a question. What weight class did Tank Davis fight at in the fight previous to the Barrio fight? As you would say, D-Style, riddle me this, riddle me that.
So what? And then what
I would say if you guys, if you're looking for a criticism of Barrios,
he was fighting at 130 pounds.
Master, let him go. Go ahead, Dan.
I'm saying if you're looking for, I don't think Barrios is a world beater. I don't really rank him that high at all. It's just I think this is more about what we think about Keith Thurman, who is the guy. I mean, this guy was the unified champ. So if you're looking for criticisms of Barrios, there are plenty. I mean, I was there at the Spence Porter undercard. He lost to Akhmadov. He lost that fight. I was doing the CompuBox. He got outlanded. He got booed. He lost that fight, and then also against Tank, I thought there were times where he could have took it to the next level, stepped on the gas a little bit. I kind of had the feeling that Barrios was kind of just happy to be there. There was not one moment in the fight where I thought, oh, Barrios, he's gonna go take it to Tank. He wants to win this fight. It almost looked like, oh, I'm here, kind of going through the motions. I'm gonna get sparked eventually, and he did, but. I don't think this is it's more about where we think of Keith Thurman right now than of what I think of Barrios. And I don't really think much of him as a contender.
Well,
yeah,
let me just say this.
Go ahead.
Let me just say this. And we've discussed this several times. Just because somebody's short doesn't mean they're small. Like Tank is a thick, stocky guy. I mean, he's going to be a 140-pounder. He may even be a 147-pounder. He's just short. He's not tiny. He's not this tiny little dude. This guy can crack. He can hurt people.
He actually is me 5'5".
It's like 5'5", 5'6". Same height as Manny Pacquiao. Same height as Pernell Whitaker. Pernell Whitaker was a junior middleweight and he was 5'5". He's the same size as Pernell Whitaker. Pernell Whitaker fought at 154.
That's great. People are criticizing me.
It is great. He won a title at 154.
Maestro wants us to go around and just criticize Mario. Why does he get criticized?
Why don't you
criticize Keith Thurman? Why don't you criticize Keith Thurman?
He's there to make Keith Thurman look good. So why am I going to sit here and criticize the guy when we all know who he is?
See, here's the thing. I'm on a panel with 4 dudes that have spent most of their time on the mic criticizing the former unified welterweight champion of the world.
Come on.
I'm getting criticized.
Okay, and you're criticizing the 3-division world champion, Maestro. What's the matter with you?
By the way, again, you guys are criticizing me saying that Tank Davis was a junior lightweight when he fought Barrios. He literally had just fought at junior lightweight. I don't know what's so common.
And he fought at 140 and he knocked somebody out. So on that night he was 140-pounder. He was 140-pounder.
He was 130-pounder.
We get it. Okay.
And he was 140-pounder when he knocked out Barrios. So he proved he could fight at 140.
Did he stay there?
No, he can go back there though. It doesn't matter.
So anybody can eat and go up in weight. What does that mean?
At the end of the day,
if you win at a weight class, that means you can perform at that weight class. Canelo fight at 175?
Okay. Can Barrios fight at 130?
No.
No,
That makes no sense. Come on.
Can Tank fight at 130? Yes or no?
Maybe
No.
not now. Maybe not now.
So the Santa Cruz win.
Also, I mean, come on, like the Cruz win.
Tank will never go. Mark my words. Tank will never fight. He will never fight another fight at 130 again. Mark my words.
Now I want to watch this fight. Now I'm excited about it.
And really quick, and by the way, I mean, you're making it sound like Cruz is the dude that I, when I bought this 6-pack of Blue Moon, like cash it in or something, like the Cruz knocked out Magdaleno in 1 round, bro. Like he felt that power, knocked him out, and like this ain't that dude ain't no joke. Like we can't let ourselves get fooled here, okay? He may not have been as well known, but hey, I'll tell you right now, I would pick him over Ryan Garcia, Isaac Cruz. I'll tell you that right now. You know what I mean? So, all right, but we'll see.
You pick against Haney and Gamboa.
Let's say boxing. Wait, go ahead.
No, just one real point. I don't really think it's about Mario Barrios, and I think one of you have already said this. I don't think it's really about him. I think if Keith Thurman fought anyone, the point is most people that are picking Keith Thurman to lose is because they just think he's washed up.
Mm-hmm.
He could have fought anyone, and they would have been like, he's gonna lose. I don't think anyone has ever really believed that Mario Barrios is anywhere near as talented as Keith Thurman. It's just because Keith Thurman is washed up 2.5 years, coming off a loss. That's what it's all about. I don't think it has anything to do with mentally. He's not there. He doesn't seem like he's in it. I've heard all of these things, all of these points. I don't think it's about Mario Barrios at all.
It's crazy.
It would have been anyone. I mean, even if they're saying this about Mario Barrios coming off of a loss, knockout loss, then if they would have picked anyone that's coming off of a decent win, they would have picked against Keith Thurman, anyone at 140.
I've never heard this amount of praise for a WBA regular titleist.
Oh, come on. Ain't nobody praising the dude. Who's praising him?
Let's not forget.
I've never heard this much praise.
We keep skimming over the fact. We keep skimming over the fact that Barrios was in that fight. He got knocked out in the 11th round.
He was very much in the fight.
The fight was like
Reggie title.
The fight was practically even. Some people had Barrios up at the time of the stoppage.
That's what was my point.
Are we supposed to just forget everything Barrios did in that fight?
Tell him,
he was winning that fight.
And I'll tell you what,
winning that fight before he got knocked out.
I'm gonna let you get the last one.
He's supposed to be winning that fight, in my opinion.
I'll tell you what, this fight's about Keith. It's not about Tank. Yeah, you brought up Tank. Like, but Tank hasn't done anything.
Tank was
you brought down what Tank hasn't done for like 5 minutes.
Hold on,
talking about Tank.
Tank was a 6-1 favorite. Tank was a 6-1 favorite over Barrios, right? He was supposed to destroy Barrios. Barrios was winning. Barrios was winning before he got knocked out. He overachieved in that fight.
So here's my last point. You said I could have one last
point.
Yeah,
go ahead. I have another question about the fight anyway, so let me ask the question. We'll go from there. Hold on. I'm going to let you. You're going to go, Maestro. Just chill out. All right, chill out. Relax.
Barrios was winning
relax. I'm gonna get Slay on here to get on you about Tank, is what I'm gonna do. All right, but check this out, okay? We're gonna go around again. I have another question. You want to elaborate? Go ahead. But really quickly, what is a better story? I'm gonna go with you, Maestro. I can't wait to hear this one. Mario Barrios pulling off the upset, or Keith Thurman getting this victory? What's the better story for boxing?
Oh, come on. Look, man, if Mario Barrios pulls this off, they're gonna be making movies about him like Sylvester Stallone with Rocky. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Well, you have a very high calling for
Thurman. In his very last fight got knocked out. He was a WBA regular champion that got knocked out by a guy moving up from 130.
In a fight he was winning.
How can we?
In a fight he was winning.
Okay, he still got.
Let him go.
I can't let him go. He's horrible.
He still got knocked out by the guy that moved up.
So, Master, we have a bunch of topics, so I need your answer quick. So your answer is Barrios.
Knocked out by the guy that moved up 2 motherfucking weight.
We get all that.
Everyone moves up in weight. What's the big deal? Like it's like.
Anyways, look. Obviously, it's Mario Barrios. They're gonna be making novellas about this dude. They're gonna be selling action figures. It's gonna be Mario Barrios all day long.
All right. Hey, Dan, what year is it?
What?
What year is it?
I believe it's 2022.
Because this dude's talking like it's 2016. I don't know. But nonetheless, what's the better story?
I mean, obviously, underdog story they always sell, and I mean, he's technically the underdog, but it's not by a wide margin. I mean, I want to see Thurman win because if he has a good performance, it's just going to bang the drum for a bigger fight. I would like to see him fight a Terrence Crawford, even though he's not going to win that one. But it all depends. He can look great. He can make us all wrong here, and he can look phenomenal. He can ice Barrios in 3-4 rounds, and there will be a huge swell of momentum. He'll be talking his talk like he's very good at. He'll be calling out Keith Thurman 100%. That's the fight he wants. He's had it circled for a really long time. He's definitely not getting Spence, and he wants big money fights. So, I mean, if he can maybe entertain a fight with Gervonta, I don't think so. It's pretty clear that he wants Crawford, but it all comes down to how Thurman looks. If he knocks this guy out and it looks impressive, of course, everyone's going to go crazy and they're going to say, bring on Crawford. I'm not against it, but I just don't, like we just said. I mean, this is boxing. You don't play boxing. You can't sit out for 2.5 years. You can't. He's over 30. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, I'm not trying to go be contrarian. I'm just stating.
Don't forget the injuries, Dan. Don't forget the injuries.
Yes, he's just. I mean, it's
boatload of injuries, Dan. Boatload of injuries.
He's had a lot of injuries.
Knockout loss, Dan. Don't forget the knockout loss.
Who's knockout loss?
Barrios.
Very aware of the knockout loss.
I think we're all aware of that. Yeah.
He lost twice, actually. He lost to Akhmadov, like I said. He lost that fight.
It was a robbery.
He's not that good. And like you said, he was winning. I thought he could have stepped on the gas pedal against Tank, and he just didn't go for it. He was content. I don't think he's that great. I think he's like you said, a regular champion. He's like, somewhere around the 7th or 8th best guy. Not even at 140 because he hasn't even fought there, or excuse me, 147. He's probably the 7th or 8th best guy at 140. I mean, he's a good story. I mean, he seems like a really good guy too, but whatever that means. But I don't rank him that high. And like we said, I think this is more about what we think of Keith Thurman more than what we think, how little we think of Barrios.
Well, so what's it? It's funny. Like, Mario Barrios, he lost. Like, Josecito Lopez lost a bunch of times, and he still gave Thurman. He was putting hands on that guy. Right? Hey, Boxing Wave, talk to us, brother. What's the better story for you?
It's definitely Barrios winning the fight. It's definitely I think it's a no-brainer. It's Keith Thurman winning is because he's supposed to. Just real quick. I was just thinking this. Is Barrios better than Cepeda?
No,
I don't think so.
Just randomly throwing it out there,
He's not up there with the Riverside Rocky.
It's a lot of people. You got to remember, we had the World Boxing Super Series. Then we had the few guys that wasn't there. That's really good too. It's a lot of people I would put before Barrios at 140. 140 is deep. Like at 7 and 8. Is giving him a lot of credit. I don't even think he's 7 to 8.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably being generous there. I think that's what they have him as, right? He's like, not that I go by those rankings at all, but yeah, I don't know where Barrios stands. I guess we'll find out tomorrow night. That's the beauty, or Saturday night. I think that's the beauty of boxing is we're gonna find out. We're gonna see is Keith Thurman washed? Is Keith Thurman somewhat washed? Is Mario Barrios good? Is Mario Barrios a freaking can? We'll find out. That's why we watch.
This fight is an embarrassment. The only thing worse and more embarrassing than this fight would be Keith Thurman losing this fight.
That would be hilarious.
With that said, Beeb, talk to him. What's the better story for you?
We're going to have a big parade at San Antonio, Texas when Barrios knocks out Keith Thurman Sunday morning or Monday morning, actually. Going to get the ticker tape parade going. Going to have all the floats.
Wow.
Everyone's
we got ticker tape parades and we got movies being made about this guy. This is something.
This is gonna be an epic. You want to talk about the Riverside Rocky, right? This is gonna be the San Antonio Rocky. How's that?
I hope there is a moment where his hair gets combed again. And
you know what? I gotta just say something to Maestro. There's a lot of fighters that have gotten knocked out. Manny Pacquiao's gotten knocked out before, right? Julian Jackson's got knocked out.
Let me ask you,
lots of fighters get knocked out. They can still come back after a knockout loss. Timing is everything in boxing. Time isn't everything.
Bill not.
Tony Bellew got knocked out. Then he knocked out David Haye.
Go ahead, Beeb. Go ahead. Finish your point, Beeb.
When did Manny Pacquiao get knocked out by a guy moving up 2 weight classes?
Anyone can get knocked out.
Marquez, he moved up from 135. Like Did the fight a
Anyone can get
welterweight or
knocked out.
catch
We're
weight?
in a,
There we
we're
go.
in an era,
There.
we're in an era of boxing where everyone moves up in weight. So it's the norm now. Okay,
Hey,
it's not
but let me
it's
give
not
you a
some
tape.
novelty.
His last
It's
fight.
not some novelty when a guy moves up in
Last
weight.
fight.
Hey, yo.
Sergey
It's not some
Kovalev.
novelty.
No,
Listen,
when did
this is what we're gonna do. This is the
knocked
new
out?
maestro rule.
When
This is
did
the new
it-
maestro rule. Anytime you get knocked out, your career's over.
No, I never said
Tell
that.
Roberto Duran that.
Man,
Tell Roberto Duran that.
Lennox
Oh man.
Lewis say that. But what I am
Tell
saying,
Lennox Lewis that.
what I am saying is
Hey,
that
Tell Mike Tyson that.
when you get knocked out,
Maestro, make that point. Then I gotta go.
classes. He got knocked out by a guy moving up 2 weight classes.
Man,
matter
all
when
this
you get
energy
knocked
for
out.
Keith Thurman. This is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, yo, the Keith Thurman, like
Keith Thurman lost to a 40-year-old guy. So what's that mean?
So check it out, guys. First of all, Maestro, hold on. You had your turn. I know. He lost to Tank, and Tank moved up from 130, and I get it. Boxing Republic, who's down with HCP? Hashtag HCP Network. I appreciate the support. Shout out to Nancy, by the way. Catch her every Tuesday on the HCP podcast with me, and also on Women Crushing the Weight. So in the ring, Christine Remy giving the fist pump to Beeb. There you go. I appreciate the support, brother. Let me tell you this. This to me has a lot of similar. It's just my opinion. It's reminding me a lot of Cotto versus Saddam Ali. It just has that same feel to me. It's the same thing. Nobody would have said nobody said, "Oh, Saddam Ali, he's got it. He's got it." Like nobody thought that, right? But he moved up. But guess what? And Cotto was coming off a pretty decent performance against Canelo, dude. Okay, but guess what? I mean, he just ran out of gas, bro. And he was looking better. He was looking better than your boy Keith Thurman has been looking. Okay. And I don't know. I'm just saying. So
Father Time is undefeated. Father Time is undefeated. I don't care. I don't care about the old Keith Thurman. I'm talking about the Keith Thurman we have now.
I got it. You guys are a bunch of anti-baldites. You're just hating on Keith Thurman because his hairline is like receding. And you think that that's the reason
I'm not going to lie. He looks like so much older.
Let me find out you're drawing a paycheck from Team Thurman. Let me find out.
Hey, real quick, William Boxing says HCP. I appreciate the support, brother. Much appreciated. All right. Shout out to everybody, man. But here's what we're going to do. We got to proceed. But great discussion. Okay. I will say this. The better story is definitely Mario Barrios. I mean, Nancy just dropped like those mujeres un Mario. Like, dude, that's a hit novela. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just saying. All right. So with that said, I want to talk about something here because somebody in the panel was actually there. You know what I mean? So I want to know their thoughts on this. Dan, talk to us about your experience at the Tater Serrano press conference. Mm-hmm. Does this have a big fight feel for you? Have you ever been to a women's fight that felt this way?
No, I have not. I was just on an earlier show and I was just saying how this felt different. I mean, I'm pretty sure all of us here have probably been to a boxing press conference. They're pretty boring. They're very procedural. Nothing ever happens at them. Very rarely does like news come out of them. Very rarely does it have a feel for it, a big feel, because it's simply just a bunch of people talking up at a podium. And this isn't a weigh-in. This isn't fight week. This is the fight's months away. But there was an energy inside Madison Square Garden yesterday because of the history of this fight. I mean, on one side you got Katie Taylor, an Olympic hero. All she knows is winning. She got a whole country behind her. She's undisputed at lightweight. She's pound for pound. Number one or number two or wherever you have her, definitely top three. Then you got Amanda Serrano, who also is like the Manny Pacquiao of women's fighting, 8-7 division world champion, best body puncher in boxing, the most active puncher in terms of thrown and landed in women's boxing today, all of her titles. Then you throw in the fact that there's Jake Paul involved and there's Eddie Hearn involved. They got on the stage. They did like a funny face-off. There's a lot of buzz for this fight, and I believe it's at the right place at the right time. Women's boxing, I thought, had a great 2021. They're going to have a great 2022. I expect there to be a raucous crowd at MSG. I mean, I'm pumped for this fight. I really am. And in addition to like all the hype and all the accolades on both sides, all the history, let's keep in mind this is the first women's fight to headline a card at Madison Square Garden. And we all know how long they've been putting on cards at Madison Square Garden. But with all that being said, all the history, all the accolades, Jake Paul, Eddie Hearn, I just think it's going to be a damn good fight inside the ring because of Serrano's aggressiveness. Like I said, she throws 75 punches around. that's in 2-minute rounds. So if you threw in an extra minute, she's over 100. She lands 21 punches a round. It's the most of any woman active today. And you've got Katie Taylor, who is it doesn't throw as much punches, but she's very precise. I mean, this is a can't miss fight.
All right, right. I want to ask you, I mean, there's no way for us to know, but if you were to guess, like, how do you think the crowd's going to look? I've heard people saying it's going to be dominated by the Puerto Rican crowd. Some people saying now the UK is going to show up. Like, what type of atmosphere do you see?
Oh, it depends, right? It depends on the traveling restrictions. If everything's open, which I hope so, and it's certainly trending that way, I think
It is.
You know, I'm not Anthony Fauci here, but I think that the Omicron is down like almost 90% in New York City, last I checked. But if it's a UK thing, I mean, Katie Taylor's gonna have a ton of fans in there, and they're loud. They're very loud, but also, Amanda Serrano is from New York. She's going to have a lot of, Puerto Rican fans there too. It's going to be a great crowd. And I think it's going to be a fun crowd because it's a celebration. At least in my eyes, it is. And that's what a lot of the talking points were yesterday from everybody up on the dais was like, this is a celebration because they're getting a lot of money. It's the biggest purse, I believe. It's over $1 million for each woman, at least in boxing. I think, Ronda Rousey made, $5 million, I think, in the UFC. I'm a big fan of women's boxing. I love it. I think it's since the divisions aren't as deep as men, we get these matchups more often than not. Very little marination. We usually just get them, and they're usually fun fights. So I'm all for this fight. I feel like maybe I'm over the top excited for it, but I can't wait.
Joe Habib, talk to us, brother. What do you think of the press conference, the hype around it? Have you ever witnessed this, for a women's fight?
No, I haven't. But I'm only going on by my own personal feelings. Like, I haven't been excited as much as this for a women's fight. I can't remember the last time I was. But my only concern about this is the fight's going to be on DAZN, and I'm wondering if a lot of casual American boxing fans will be able to see this, because a lot of people don't have DAZN. A lot of my friends don't have DAZN, right? Mm-hmm. And that's my only concern. I know internationally, over in the UK, I know a lot of people are going to get behind this fight, and I know it's going to do a phenomenal live gate. And I do love the fact that they got ahead of this and they did a press conference early for this. Mm-hmm. And that shows that they're trying to push this fight right out of the gate, right from the jump. They're not waiting. Sometimes a fight gets announced and they don't really promote it and push it. It seems like they're going to be making a concerted effort to push this fight. And like I said, I'm really behind it. Dan, I got to ask you, was there a lot of people there? Did you see a lot of buzz around the streets? I mean, what was the atmosphere like over there?
Well, not really in the streets, but I'll tell you what, HBO Real Sports was there doing a segment on not just Jake Paul, on Amanda Serrano.
Okay.
And the magnitude of this fight. That shocked me.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
David Scott, he was going to have a great suit. I was like, whoa, this guy is in boxing media, because boxing media guys don't wear nice suits like that. But it was a buzz. Like, there's not a lot of media in New York anymore. Media, I feel like they've all moved out. I feel like I'm one of the only guys there. But yeah, there was definitely it was different. Like, it felt different. Like, it felt like more of an event. Having Jake Paul there certainly helps. And I said this earlier on another show as well, is like, you can say what you want about him. You might not like him boxing. You may not like his personality, but I think he's going to be a good promoter. I mean, if you're a boxing fan, you should want him in the promoting game, because this guy can hype up a fight. This is what he does. Like, I was listening to him when he was talking to the HBO Real Sports guy. He said, listen, he even said himself, he goes, I don't know how much longer I have in boxing. He's like, maybe one fight, maybe 3, maybe 5. He goes, but I think I have a pretty good idea of the boxing business. And as we know, it's not that easy to get into the promoting game. I mean, we see 50 Cent come and go. We've seen a lot of guys think they can do it and then fail, but I think he's doing it the right way by kind of just putting his toe in a little bit. Women's boxing has one fighter. I talked to Nikisa, who is the head of MVP Promotions. That's Jake Paul's promotion company. I said, you guys got more fighters? And he said, you know what? We're taking it very slow. We have a lot of offers. We have people coming to us that want to fight under our banner, but we're kind of just like checking out the lay of the land. So I think Jake Paul, the promoter, that intrigues me a lot more than Jake Paul, the boxer.
Yeah.
Well said. I just want to clarify something. If I understand that Katie Taylor is from Ireland, and that's what she represented in the Olympics. And I believe Northern Ireland is part of the UK. How all of Katie Taylor's fights have been in the UK. All of them.
They've been in like Great Britain.
Like all of them have been in Great Britain, not in the UK.
She's never
London.
She
that's
didn't
where
fight
she
the
fight.
Garden,
Like,
right?
she is an adopted daughter of the UK without a shadow. Like, yes, people from Ireland, from the UK, from that island over there are going to show up. And yes, there's a lot of Irish people in New York City. I mean, who isn't in New York City, right? I mean,
Katie Taylor's not from Northern Ireland. She's from the Republic of Ireland.
I just said that, Maestro. I just said I know she's not from Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK, but all her fights have been in the UK.
Yeah,
like,
I'm just saying.
I'm not going to like. There is a UK presence at her fights. There's
I'm
no
not
doubt.
saying that there isn't. Obviously, her fights have taken place in the UK, and you know what? There are a lot of people of Irish descent and Irish people living in the UK.
Well, there you go. All right.
My point is that her fan base will show up whether or not people from the UK are allowed into the United States or not.
They should be allowed into the United States.
I work with.
So check it out. No, I was just stating because I don't want you to think like we don't know or something like that. You know what I mean? We're aware. We're aware that Ireland's not part of the UK. But Boxing Wave, talk to us. I mean, I wanted to say the two New Yorkers for last, but might as well just cut in line, okay? But I was gonna let him have the last word. You know what I mean? But all right, Boxing Wave, talk to us, brother. Are you gonna go to this fight? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to the fight. I already expressed that. I think so much that I want to say about it. I've been speaking on this fight for a little while now. It's definitely my favorite fight, most anticipated female fight ever. And I'm definitely going to go. Really disappointed at the fact that they're sharing the same date as the Shakur Stevenson Oscar Valdez fight. I really hate that because Shakur Stevenson is probably my favorite young fighter that's going to come up. But doesn't matter. I'm going to go to this fight. I'm expecting, as far as the crowd, I'm expecting the same kind of UK support that we got at the Joshua Ruiz fight in New York. I went to that fight.
That was lit.
And it was mostly, it wasn't New Yorkers there like that.
No, that was a wild night.
Yeah, that was a wild night. I was up there. I was close to the ring. It was a crazy experience. I just think that I was thinking about the DAZN thing as well. I think, as much, and I like DAZN. I've been a subscriber since the very beginning. It's still growing. I can't lie and act like, I'll go outside and ask you, the fight's going to be on DAZN. Every time I say that to people, they're like, the what? DAZN. The what? Like,
it's a shame. If it was on ESPN, it would do phenomenal.
Exactly. It should be on ESPN. If not Fox Sports, it should be on ESPN.
You see what I'm saying, right, Wave? You see what I'm saying about that DAZN thing, right?
Yeah, but DAZN's got the deeper checkbooks in order to pay.
Yeah, and
I'm a big supporter of women's boxing, but I mean, I don't think the fight will generate. Maybe it will, but I could be wrong. But it might not generate them, getting a $1 million purse. That might be more of hey, we're going to give you, like, this is what we think that you deserve.
Yeah.
But who knows? What part of New York City are you in, man?
I'm in Harlem.
Oh, nice. I'm in Astoria.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, great fight. I'm excited for it. I'm definitely going to go see it live. I don't know how well, and the thing about Jake Paul, as time goes on, I'm starting to like him as a promoter, because he's talking about money, he's talking about the purses and what boxers should be getting paid more. I kind of like what he's saying, because he's not like the typical promoter, and
right.
And I'm not going to go into politics at all, but again, like, when politicians, like, I think more politicians, that they're not going to be politicians in the future. It's going to be more people that's going to be joining up, that's going to be trying to run for whatever, mayor, governor, that are not actual politicians. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's part of the reason why Trump won, So anyway, I think Jake Paul is just different, and I like what he's saying. And I think that because he's not an actual not politician, a promoter, I think it's good.
So basically what you're saying is Jake Paul is going to be the next president of the United States.
And I mean, at this point, I don't even know.
Oh, I like the guy. I was able to interview him. I was able to talk to him yesterday, and he's definitely saying the right things. He had a great prepared speech for his first moment as a promoter. This was his first time talking as a promoter, not a brash, fighter. And he respected Ann Wolf. He brought up all the women of the past. I think he's doing something really smart. You know what he's doing? He's kind of, I wouldn't say distracting people from the fact that he made $50 million last year, but he's doing a good job of making us talk about this and making us talk about Dana White, UFC fighter pay. And by the way, I just made $50 million last year in fights that were not that exciting. So I think he's a master of the spin. He's a master of promotion. He's going to be a great promoter if he really sticks to it.
Dan, he seems to be really good with the press too, huh? He seems very friendly.
Everyone was swarming the guy. It was insane.
Yeah. And he answers all the questions. He doesn't push anyone away or anything.
He was getting pulled in a million directions. He gave everyone time. He gave everyone everything they had. I have something coming out with him on Sunday where I had him read mean tweets about him. It's going to be epic. I just edited it. Yeah, it's going to be really funny. He's a good sport. I mean, I'm trying to find things about him. My friends ask me all the time, this guy sucks. He's terrible for boxing. I was like, if you think Jake Paul is bad for boxing, let me tell you about the other 100 things that are way worse, much worse, than
well
Jake
said.
Paul.
Well said. Go ahead and finish your any final thoughts about this topic, Boxing Wave?
Yeah, no, I just was gonna add that I think the difference between and compare Rock Nation. You brought up 50 Cent before. These guys came in because they came in with the same plan. They didn't really. I think Jake Paul's definitely getting coached. He's aware of why boxing fans are angry. He's on social media. I'm sure he's paying attention to what the fans are saying. YouTubers like us, he knows. He's aware of what's going on, and I like
all
it.
right.
Yeah, he's doing the research. He's definitely doing the research.
Hold on, Beep. I hate to cut you off, but you already had your turn.
I'm just saying he's doing. I just said he just did the research. That's all. It's 2 seconds.
All right, Maestro.
Not a big deal. Not a big deal.
Maestro's been waiting patiently. Maestro, go ahead and talk to us about this.
I'll pick up where people left off. I'm not jumping on the Jake Paul train around this press conference. I've been saying for a few months now that I think the guy is good for the sport. I think he's talking about necessary things as it relates to the worker capitalist relationship with the UFC and the fact that those guys are very, very exploited if you look at it in terms of their surplus value of what they generate and what they get to keep from what they generate. I haven't had a problem with his own matchmaking as it relates to his own career. You only need to look at Nico Walsh to see that isn't much wrong with the way Jake Paul has been handling the first few fights of his career. You don't even need to look at Tommy Fury. Look at Nico Walsh's record. Look at who he's been fighting. Look at the primetime television slots on ESPN, mind you, not on pay-per-view, on ESPN that Nico Walsh has taken away from guys, even in Top Rank, that I think are more well-deserving, like Xander Zayas, amongst many others. So I could go on that. I'll say that I also agree that I think he's done a very good job with Serrano. He's given her a public profile that she would have never have had. She's coming off of fighting on NBC Sports for about $30,000 to $40,000 prior to signing with her, to co-headlining pay-per-views and fighting in front of capacity crowds in NBA, NHL size arenas. So you cannot knock that. Now, this is where I'm torn about that weekend. I mean, I actually really want to see Valdez Stevenson. But obviously going to a fight in Vegas, which I've done before, is a lot more difficult than jumping on the D train and getting off at 34th Street and walking to the Garden, right? For a fight that I can probably get credentialed to cover. But I do want to see Valdez Stevenson. And as it relates to ESPN not having the pockets to pay for a fight like this, they proved with this Fury White fight that when they're motivated, they have the fucking pockets. They paid $41 million on a purse bid for a fight that may not generate $41 million. So they're willing to take very big, you could even call them calculated risks. Why they haven't done so with women's boxing is very clear to me. Bob is prejudiced against women.
Those comments he made were wild.
If you're willing to drop half of $41 million on Fury White, but these with female fights are too expensive for you. I mean, I'm not really understanding that math.
Well, he wasn't really in the bidding for this one. Neither of these two women
saying,
have anything to do with Top
I'm
Rank.
not saying that he is, but he's also had the chance to make big fights for Michaela Mayer and others that are his fighters, and he hasn't pulled the trigger on them.
Let's see what he does for Baumgartner Mayer.
Yeah, right. And he's been criticized for the handling of Michaela Mayer's career and other female fighters that he's worked with. So that I don't think that it's an issue of pockets. I think it's more of an issue of motivation. I think it would have done decent on another platform, but as a boxing fan that pays my $100 a year to DAZN, I'm also not really complaining about it. And I won't belabor the Irish point. I was just asked in the chat by Christine and by Nancy, one of the two, I think it was Nancy actually, about how I see kind of the ratio. I think Irish people are going to turn up. She's a superstar in Ireland. She's got major endorsements over there. I actually work with Irish teachers at my school, and they're huge fans of hers, and they're not even really big boxing fans. So I think she's going to bring out kind of the mainstream Irish sports fan support. And there's going to be a lot of Irish people, as of course there will be a lot of Puerto Ricans, as of course there will be a lot of just boxing fans in general, because it's a very big fight.
Nice.
I want to add this. So, I mean, first of all, I don't think anybody at this point, if we're honest, right? Anyone who doesn't give Jake Paul credit for what he's doing with Serrano at this point, you're hating. It's just my opinion. At this point,
you're an insecure guy.
Probably, but at this point, it's like you got to give him credit for that, because all you got to do is compare the attention she had, the purses she was making before, she got with Jake Paul, right, as her manager / promoter. Just compare those two things. It's not if there's a metric, that one's it, And I hear a lot of and I did it too for a while, but people questioning the motive, and does it really matter?
No, it doesn't matter. Because what matters is that they're getting the money. The women are getting the money. Amanda Serrano put in so much hard work, had to go to MMA and to make ends meet, and she was so appreciative yesterday. She would look like she was in awe yesterday. I mean, she was just looking around, like she was on the court at the Garden, which they do for big fights. They bring the fighters out onto the court, let them hang out a little bit at MSG. You can see that she's so appreciative, and who cares, right? Who cares the motive behind Jake Paul? I'm sure he's making a nice promoter fee on this too, but it's all about the women and moving it forward. This could generate a whole new era of women boxers, women boxing fans, and we need that. Boxing needs it. The thing about UFC, the women fights are awesome. It just adds to just any other workforce. Why when people hire people at jobs and they discriminate against women, it's well, why are you cutting off 50% of what could be a great thing? So the more, I just think it could be a great thing, and it's getting better and better. I think we all can see that, right? The quality is getting better, the fights are getting better. I don't know where you guys stand with the 2 to 3 minute rounds. I've heard a bunch of different things. I've heard from executives have told me that they are more likely to buy a 20-minute fight rather than a 30-minute fight. I've heard from women fighters tell me that they don't want to fight for 3 minutes if they're getting paid less. I feel a little slighted that this fight's only going to be 20 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Look, I mean, I wish it was 3 minutes around. I mean, they could agree to that. I know Sinise Estrada and Esparza did do 3 minutes around, but at this point,
but New York's not going to do that. The New York Commission is insanely strict. They're not going to do that. Okay. Yeah, because that lawsuit a few years back with, they're not going to touch that.
Well, I hear you, but
thank you, man.
Yeah. So as far as that goes, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still looking forward. It's going to be a fast-paced fight. It's impossible for this not to be a good fight. So
I agree.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. And let me tell you, and I've been saying this for about 3 weeks now, this is this generation's Ann Wolf, Layla Ali, Christy Martin, Lucia Riker, but it's going to happen, right?
Exactly.
That's the main thing. It's going to happen. Knock on wood, of course. Okay.
Would you guys be shocked? Let me ask you, would you guys be shocked if one of these, someone blinks first, they maybe a date gets moved, or who knows?
I was just going to ask that question. Do you guys think that maybe the Shakur Stevenson
that might move the Garden? They're not moving from the Garden.
You think that fight? You think that fight? Is there a possibility that date gets pushed back a week?
Probably.
I hope somebody moves. And I don't necessarily blame Top Rank, because I don't know who decided that they wanted this date first. I mean,
ESPN does that.
Right?
ESPN does not care. ESPN looks at boxing as live programming. They do not care. It's just they don't understand the magnitude of of they don't care that there's a women's fight on the zone.
It's something to put on after college.
Exactly. You couldn't be any more right, bro. They do not care.
College football.
And one more point I wanted to make here. I'm glad they're getting paid. I saw some comments on Twitter and social media, right, saying that I don't think they deserve this money. Serrano that doesn't generate this. Now, let me just tell you something, man. Okay, plenty of dudes, plenty of male boxers, okay, that don't generate what these ladies generate. Have been getting paid a lot of money over the years. Okay, and ridiculous amount, like Mikey getting $7 million. Like, are you to fight? Like, are you kidding me? Like, but Amanda getting 7 figures is a problem. Like, I don't see a problem with it at all.
These are the same dudes, D-style, that think that it's okay for Ngannou to make $500,000 to defend a UFC title.
Yo.
Wow. Hey, but I have one more question for Danny before we have to let him go. So, Jermell, Charlo, Brian Castano, looks like it's official at the, I had to read this one twice, Crypto Arena. Staples Center's no more, but it's the same arena, Los Angeles. This fight is not pay-per-view. I could have sworn they were going to put it on pay-per-view, but it's not pay-per-view. Showtime's going to get it. So what do you think of this matchup, brother?
Oh, man, I can't wait. Their first fight was one of my 3 favorite of 2021 because I love the stylistic matchup. I love when you have a fighter that throws a shit ton of punches, and that's Castano, the most at 154 per round at close to 80, which is absurd. Then you have Jermell Charlo, who throws the least amount of punches at 154, around 40. And as we know with Charlo, he is a knockout puncher. So I love a pressure fighter versus a low output knockout guy because I want to see who's going to blink first, who's going to give up their game plan first. So, and I think that played out in that first fight. I thought Castano won the first fight. I'm interested to see if he can replicate that performance, Brian Castano. I thought he fought the fight of his life, and he didn't get the win. He didn't get his hand raised at the end. I mean, he did get his hand raised, but the other guy got his hand raised too. So I don't know exactly if he can replicate that. I think Charlo can certainly improve on his performance. I was shocked that he was willing to stand up against the rope so much and not fight in the center of the ring. I thought maybe he would do that more. But I love this fight. I love 154. I love that Tim Tszyu will be fighting on the card, his first fight in the U.S. He supposedly got next in this. Then you got Sebastian Fundora fighting Erickson Lubin. I mean, 154 is awesome. And I love the fact that they're all under the PBC banner. They're all on Showtime. This fight's not on pay-per-view. I mean, there's everything to love about this fight. I think 154 is everything that's right with boxing. I think this fight's going to be great. It's going to be everything you want out of the sport, and I'm interested to see if Castano can do that again.
Great points, but my brain is exploding because how the fuck is this on regular Showtime and this weekend's fight is on pay-per-view? Like, what?
Well,
how does that happen?
It happens because Showtime they all want uniform. Showtime has a commitment to 154. They have a commitment to Donaire. They have a commitment to 122. They want to keep that going. They want to keep that uniform. The Fox thing is nuts. I mean, I don't know how that works. That's like, stuff way above me. Like, that's all Al Heyman. I mean, fights that are just too expensive. I guess Charlo Castano isn't as expensive as what Thurman is asking for or what they decided to give Thurman. But I think it more has to go along with the fact that Showtime wants to keep these divisions on Showtime so fans can follow along. But yeah, it's tricky. It's very it's mind-boggling sometimes about how they figure it out.
Depends on the network.
Depends on the network, and I think they'd rather buy this fight than Barrios versus
like Thurman, the welterweights for the most part are on Fox. Like Spence. Well, Spence. I'm pretty sure Spence Ugas is going to be a Fox pay-per-view. Yeah. They have to do 5 a year, which that's just the deal that they have, and it's up to the fans to decide if they're going to watch it, stream it, buy it, not buy it. It's not the greatest way to grow the sport. It's a whole story for another day. But yeah, you're right. It's a little mind-boggling to figure out how they come up with this PBC and their networks.
Yeah, definitely, man. Great points there, Dan, from the host of Inside Boxing Live. Tell everybody once again where they can find your content and where they can find you on social media before you got to go.
Yeah, you can follow me at Dan Canobio on Twitter. You can watch the show Inside Boxing Live on the CompuBox TV YouTube page, as well as Pluto TV. It's on Fubo Sports, streams there. You can listen to it, on the podcast apps, and Just had Dame Lillard on. He was awesome. Huge boxing fan. Talk about a guy that loves boxing. That guy knew everyone. He could have been on this panel with us and held his own. I mean, the guy loves boxing that much. So I interviewed him, and I got this fun thing coming up with Jake Paul. Just trying to do my thing, grow the sport. I mean, you guys seem very passionate about the sport. I love that. Thank you for having me, and keep it up.
All right, brother. Have a good one. Hope to have you back on.
Thanks.
There you go, guys. Shout out to Nando Llamas, PBC Fox, the home shopping network of boxing. Ain't nothing for free. That's what they are. You know what I mean? Shout out to Nando. Much appreciated. Okay. Boxing Wave. The fight's official. Well, what are your general thoughts?
I tell you one thing. It's going to be a hard one to pick as far as like breaking it down, because, I do think Castano won. I thought he edged the first fight. And first of all, I'm glad that they're just having a rematch, because there was a point where they weren't going to have, I think they had mandatory obligations or something like that. I don't know who's going to win the fight, though, because I think Charlo is capable of changing it with one punch, similar to like how he did in the first fight. I think because Charlo was able to hurt him so much is what made the fight as competitive as it was. And I knew Castano was going to be his toughest fight. I think a lot of people weren't really familiar with Castano. I think they was looking at Tony Harrison and all of the fighters that Charlo has faced as being more dangerous than him. I really don't know how to call the fight. I'm very excited for it. I'm glad that it's going to be an undisputed fight. I like that Tim Tszyu is fighting on the undercard. I like the whole undercard. It's a great fight. It's just all about who do I think is going to win. I'm definitely rooting for Charlo. That's my guy. I want him to win. I don't know if he's going to be able to win, because I do think that Castano, going to a decision, I pick Castano to win. But I think Charlo can catch him with a good shot. I think it's going to be similar to the first fight with a few differences. The only thing is that I'm worried about, at least on Jermell's stance, is that I haven't really watched him make adjustments in the one rematch that he had with Tony Harrison. It was just more like, I'm going to catch him. I'm going to catch him. I'm going to catch him. Keep doing what I'm doing until I catch him. And it won him the second time around. I hope in this fight he can have a better strategy for this one. Castano, he just got to just win. I think he's going to just win based off his activity and him just being a busier guy in the ring. That's right.
That's right. And now the fight's in LA, not in Texas. At least he got it out of Texas. You know what I mean? So that's something. In the ring with Christine with that $4.99. I appreciate the support from the big sis. Shout out to you. All right. Maestro, what's your reaction to this fight?
Well, that was my first reaction as well, D-Star. You hit the nail right on the head, which I'd expect from El Capitan. There can only be one and only quarterback of HCP, Mr. D-Style Boxing. And look, it's got to get out of Texas. I like Texas. Texas is a place I'm considering moving to. More land, cheaper cost of living, better opportunities for youth sports and young athletes, but I digress. This fight is now going to be all in Brian Castano's hands, so to speak, now that it's out of the hands of the very biased judging that takes place in Texas under the watchful eye of, what's the dude's name? Dickie something or another. Sounds like a character from a Western movie. Anyways, Dickie, whatever Mr. Commissioner is not overseeing a state, unfortunately, that has, been very well known for its fair officiating and refereeing. All right. I thought Brian Castano won that last fight. I thought he won it by at least 2 rounds. I love his aggressive style. I love his punch variety. I love his ability to attack and close the distance while maintaining a very fundamentally sound defense by using his legs and twisting his hips and changing levels. Very impressed. Shout out to my brother Juan, my comrade and fellow teacher who's from Argentina. He's also going to be rooting for Brian in this. I'm not rooting for one guy or the other, but I had Charlo losing that last fight, and I can't think of a reason why he would win the rematch. Brian Castano's seen him. He's taken his best shots. I'm sure he's going to be able to devise a game plan. By the way, his father is one of the best and most underrated coaches in the game. A great father-son duo, by the way. So, yeah, I got Castano winning this fight, especially now that it's taking place in Texas. Sorry, in California, not in Texas.
What happened? Hey, well, what do you think Tim Tszyu being on the undercard?
I think that that's amazing. You couldn't think of a better entry point into the UK market for the young Tim Tszyu, whose brother Nikita is making his professional debut very soon. Anyways, his older brother, Tim Tszyu, spitting image of his father. It's almost as if they, froze his father in time using, cryo, whatever it's called, cryo, and unfroze him. And now he's having a second career as his son. I'm looking forward to this. It's great that they're also putting it on the undercard because as a fight fan, you all remember when we were younger, right? And they'd have a main event and they'd have a co-main event. And the idea would be that the winners would face off against each other. I'm catching those kind of vibes when it comes to this card. So I'm catching vibes like if Tim Tszyu wins, he faces the winner of the main event, and again, it gives the US fans that may not have gotten up at 3 a.m. like us, the hardcores do, to watch these cards out in Australia. It gives them an opportunity to see Tim Tszyu fight live.
Absolutely. Beeb. Trash, it's official. California.
Yeah, I'm excited about the fight. I as well thought Castano pulled it out last time. And like Maestro said, made a good point. Castano did take Charlo's best shots. And if you're a Charlo fan, that's a little bit discouraging because, Charlo has, he's thought of to be an aggressive guy, definitely can punch, but he's turned it to more or less a counter puncher now. He's laying back and waiting and look for his opponent to make that one big mistake so he can throw that one big shot and catch him off guard. And he did that with Tony Harrison, right? Now, Castano is an ambush guy, where Tony Harrison was a guy who was a head and shoulder guy. You dip and duck and kept his feet pretty stationary, but he was a guy that just like slipped and slide a little bit, right? Castano's a guy who uses his legs. He's an ambush guy, in and out, in and out, in and out. And he doesn't stay there long enough. He goes in and runs his combinations and goes right back out and resets. So Charlo's going to have, the presence of mind to time those ambushes, and he's got to catch them. But he did catch him a few times last fight, and he took the shot. So I just think this is a numbers game. And if Charlo can't knock him out, right, which he wasn't able to do last fight after catching him with the big shots, if he can't knock him out, then I just see Castano outworking him. And I think his legs is going to be a big problem for Charlo because I think he's got faster feet than Charlo. And Charlo is he's going to have to go get him. And if he lays back like he did the first fight and doesn't go after him and doesn't throw more punches, then it's going to be hard for a judge to give him rounds if he's being outworked. So I think Castano will outwork him. And I think he'll win the fight, but I'm excited about the fight. I'm really excited about the fight because it's another undisputed fight in boxing.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something, man. I am pumped for this fight. I'm excited about this fight. It's a rematch I've been wanting to see. I'm rolling with Castano. Now, Jermell's been in this position kind of before with Harrison. We're he came off a loss, they actually didn't give it to him. And he came back, but like the game plan was very similar to what he did with Castano, which was I'm going to sit back and try to land my big shot, knock him out. The only difference is that with Castano, he wasn't able to take him out. That's not going to work with Castano. He's got to set it up better. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting. I can't wait. It's in Los Angeles once again. I like the fact that Tim Tszyu is on the undercard. It's really a 154 themed card, which Dan kind of talked about that. It's kind of what they're doing, like on Fox, they're keeping the 154 pounders or whatever, all in the same, field. And I'm surprised they got Tim Tszyu in the card. Like that shocked me. Tim Tszyu could be, he could be doing this stuff in Australia, but maybe it's the COVID stuff. I don't know. But it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are tuning in to the 66th edition of the Round Table. Right, right now we have Boxing Wave, Joe Habib, Maestro, and myself, D-Style Boxing. Hit that like button if you haven't already. We have some other great topics for you. I don't want to spend too much time with this. I just kind of want your like quick kind of thoughts about it. I just found it interesting. Vladimir Klitchko, former heavyweight champion of the world, as we know, his brother Vitaly, or Vitaly, however you want to pronounce it, is involved heavily. I believe he's the mayor of Kiev, right? I mean, I've been hearing reports that Russia might, I don't know the whole politics behind it, but I know this. Vladimir Klitschko has enlisted in the reserves. He's almost 50 years old. I don't know what he's doing. He said enlisted the reserves, and he said he's ready if Russia invades. So they're like, this is crazy. This is like out of a movie or something. Beeb, what are your thoughts about this?
You know, we talked earlier about this. In America, you can't enlist in the military for 35 years old. And Riddick Bowe tried this in a different setting, a little bit different. But you know, he tried to join the Marines, and he was a fighter. And everyone talks about how hard it is to be a fighter, the discipline it takes, whatever. But it's even harder to be in the military. I went through a basic training before. I was in the military for 3 years, and I was over in Germany. And when I was in my boot camp in South Carolina, every day when I would go back at the end of the day, at night, I'd go back to my bunk, and I'd be laying there, and I'd be looking up at the ceiling, and I'm like, damn, what the fuck did I get myself into? You know what I mean? So that's just the training aspect of it. Imagine, doing it in full speed in combat, right? It's admirable. It's admirable what he's doing, obviously, because he's taking a stand, and he wants to fight for his country, and he wants to help and make a difference and be part of making a difference. But in the same token, there's other ways he can help. I think at 45 years old, I don't think you want to put yourself out there on the front lines, because you're going to be out there dealing with younger, better trained soldiers. And I don't know if this is a great thing for him to do at 45 years old. I wouldn't advise it or recommend it, but I can't knock it either. I gotta commend his bravery and his patriotism. But at the same token, I wouldn't recommend it at 45 years old.
Well, let me say this. I mean, I think he knows, like, is he going to make a difference? Just him himself, his bot? No, but I think this is more like a moral thing. Like, hey, if the former heavyweight champion of the world enlisted, I'll enlist too. Like, I think it has something to do with that.
Great point.
He's trying to motivate his countrymen and give them hope or something. Like we're here to fight. I think that's what it is. It's my opinion. Any quick thoughts on this Boxing Wave?
No, just running back off what you just said. I agree with you 100%. Like, I think it's very admirable for him to do this. I know he's older, but I mean, this is Vladimir Klitschko. Like, he's 45, but he's still in great shape. He was just talking about coming back to the ring not too long ago, and I think it's cool. It gives him, his people, his country motivation, with everything that's going on. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully there's no invasion. I'm not following it all like that, but I think it's his choice. If he wants to do it, I think I don't have any problem with it, man. I really don't,
All right. Maestro, talk to us, man. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I don't think there's anything admirable about it at all. It's a political stunt, first and foremost. I'm a very anti-war person. I think wars are stupid. I don't think that there's anything admirable about these kind of battles. And the United States needs to mind its own business. All of this has to do with the fact that NATO is trying to expand into Eastern Europe. They want to expand onto the borders of Russia, and Russia has a problem with that. If the United States was mobilizing troops on its side of the Mexican border because a hostile country was essentially funding neo-Nazis in Mexico, nobody would have a problem with that. But because it's Russia, mobilizing troops on its side of the border because they're facing threats from neo-Nazis being funded from abroad. Because let's not get it twisted. The people fighting on that side in the Ukraine are neo-Nazis. Now, if people want to look into the history of this, you got to look into the history of what happened to Yanukovych when he was overthrown in the in the Ukraine by people aligned to Western powers that wanted to ruin the relationship that the Ukraine had with Russia. Now, what people don't seem to understand is that there are a lot of ethnic Russians living in Eastern Ukraine. There are a lot of Russian-speaking people living in Ukraine. And what this is all about is diminishing Russian influence in that part of the world and propping up German influence and UK influence and US influence. That Orange Revolution was not a revolution. It was a coup against a democratically elected leader, Yanukovych, that the West had issues with because he was trying to be close to the West and close to Russia at the same time. He was actually popular in the Russian-speaking part of the Ukraine. He was very popular with Russian ethnic people living in Ukraine. This is a proxy war. The United States is meddling. The United States is pushing for NATO, an obsolete organization that has no raison d'etre, to borrow a French term, which means reason to exist. It was an organization that was propped up to prevent these balance of power shifting to the Soviet Union during the Cold War. The Cold War has been over for a long, long time. The Cold War has been over since I was an elementary school kid. There's no reason for NATO to exist. There's no reason for NATO, a military allegiance, by the way, to be pushing itself towards Russia. They're instigating a fight with Putin. They're instigating a fight with Russia. It's stupid. There's nothing admirable about being in favor of it. Russia has said multiple times that it has no interest or intent to invade the Ukraine. This is all corporate media nonsense aimed at, again, pushing constant war because our economy is based on constant threats, constant aggression, constant war, and the selling of arms to countries like the Ukraine and Saudi Arabia and anywhere else it can sell its weapons of killing. So I'm against militaries. I'm against war. I'm against dumb wars that lead to mostly young men and sometimes young women, working class people who benefit zero from these things, dying. For what? So that Wlad Klitchsko can make a political statement? I'm done. Like, it's stupid. There's nothing admirable or anything about this. It's a political stunt, as is this entire ridiculous bullshit nonsense that's happening over there. Remove NATO. It has no reason to exist. Stop poking Russia. And let's just focus on what needs to happen here. Healthcare in the United States. Let's get that. Let's get people. Let's get people.
What does Vladimir Klitchko have to do with healthcare in the U.S.?
It has a lot to do with it because our media keeps focusing on these constant threats of war. Wars.
So let me say this really quick.
Instead of focusing on what needs to happen, better schools, healthcare, okay, jobs for people, and fucking housing. Let's stop pushing war.
I got you.
To move away from war. It needs to move away from people dying for nonsense. Period.
I hear you. No war. Whoa, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. I got you. But check it out. I will say this though. Russia has a history of being very aggressive against Ukraine. Okay, like they do. So I just want to make sure that's it. Like, there's two sides to the story. I'm not saying Ukraine is completely like innocent, but
Ukraine's being
if they're going to invade, what, he's not expected to defend his home country if they do invade? I'm not saying they will invade.
I mean, again, they're creating a boogeyman and then creating a narrative around that boogeyman. Russia is not going to invade.
They invaded Georgia. Like, you know what I mean? Like they invaded that. Like
something. Did Russia invade Iraq? Did Russia invade Libya and Afghanistan and Syria?
and we want to talk about right wing. I mean, Putin is a definition of right wing.
The United States has invaded more countries than the rest of the world combined.
Okay, but what does that have to do with Vladimir Klitchko? Nothing. He's not from the U.S. This is not the U.S. But
he's being this whole neo.
But look, I want to.
Is being supported by the U.S. government. That's a fact.
We got you. But shout out to Vitaly. Okay, look at this dude. He's battling mobs, bro. Look at this. Battling mobs, getting hit like with powder and shit.
He was part of
attacked.
He wasn't
okay.
He was
battling mobs and shit. That's all I'm saying. Okay. But with that said,
I want to retract my last statement. It's not admirable. Maestro convinced me it's not admirable. I'm going with Maestro on this one. He convinced me.
Well, all I'm saying, I'm sticking to what I said.
He wants to be president of the Ukraine. Right now, he's a mayor of Kiev. He wants to be president. So what is he doing? A political stunt. And again, look, the easiest thing to run on in the part of the Ukraine where he gets his votes, okay, is to be the big, strong Dr. Steelhammer, or is it Iron Fist? I always forget which one of it is. He wants to
show him some respect. He's a former heavyweight champion of the world. You are demanding respect for the former welterweight champion.
He's a very well.
Showing respect to former heavyweight champion of the world.
He's a mayor
that they were undisputed together.
He's a mayor that wants to be president, and this is a political stunt that is unfortunately.
And Putin doesn't do political stunts. Is that what you're saying? He does political stunts all the time. In fact, a lot of critical writers, and media just happen to disappear. I guess they went on a long-term vacation over there in Russia.
Like Julian Assange? You mean like Julian Assange has disappeared? Like he's disappeared in solitary confinement in England? Well, come on.
Where is he now?
Look, here's the thing. People need to look at their own.
But really quick, though, because I want to get back to the box.
Before they start criticizing other places. And I'm no fan of Putin, by the way. No, I'm no fan of Putin, but what I am a big opponent of is the expansion of military killing organizations like NATO provoking war. That is what I'm a big opponent of, and that's exactly what this is. The West is trying to provoke war.
This is a move. I think this is an act of force. This is an act of force, Maestro.
That's your perspective, but we're not going to go back and forth about it. Unfortunately, it's not a political show. So we're just going to go ahead and proceed. There's a lot of nuance to this that I don't want to dive into. But with that said, okay, Beeb, this is a topic you wanted to. Beeb called me. He's like, I can't believe we're going to talk about this last week. These thought you better talk about this next week, or else I will not show up ever again to the roundtable. Like, whoa, Beeb, chill out. You know what I mean? So let me read Beeb's topic here. Should fighters be fined and or suspended for not revealing serious injury that greatly hampers their performance on fight night? Okay, there, Beeb. I'm going to go to you first, in fact.
I think something needs to be done. When you have someone that's going, the whole saying that no one's 100% going into a fight, and we've talked about this already. No one's 100% when they wake up in the morning, but you have to be in shape to be able to do your job, right? I can't go to work if I'm not fit to work. A boxer cannot box if he's not fit to box. It's common sense. So if someone's telling you before the fight that they have a minor injury, and that injury turns out to be more than a minor injury, and they're not able to use one of their arms, a fighter needs to use both arms in a fight, right? Same thing with Errol Spence. They found out he had a torn retina. What happened? Can't fight, right? You can't use one of your arms. You can't fight. It's another thing having a pull, a strain. But if you have a torn ACL, or you have a jacked up meniscus and torn meniscus, you have a hairline fracture, you go into a fight with a broken hand or something like that, you shouldn't be fighting because you're not fit to fight, right? And if you're going to tell somebody before the fight that you're injured, it's up to the commission to investigate what that injury is. Have you provide medical documentation to show that you've had that injury looked at, and what the doctor's diagnosis is of that injury, and let that doctor determine whether or not the injury is serious enough. Because how many times have we thought sometimes, this is just a pull, this is just a strain. Then we go to the doctors and he starts moving our shoulder around or our elbow around or whatever's hurting us. And then we start going, And then he goes, okay, let's get an x-ray. Oh, let's get an MRI. And then it turns out to be something bigger than what we thought it was. And if we don't get that taken care of, that injury becomes progressively worse. It's the same thing with a fighter. If you go in there with a torn ACL, then you're going to be trying to fight off of a torn ACL. And what's going to happen? You're going to rupture your meniscus because your ACL is not going to be able to stabilize your knee, and you're going to be rubbing up against that meniscus and it's going to tear. So you're just going to become more injured, and that area is going to become more damaged. So yes, I think, when these fighters fill out their pre-fight questionnaires, just like when Manny Pacquiao filled out his pre-fight questionnaire in the Mayweather fight, didn't say his shoulders was injured, right? And then lo and behold, he's asking for a painkiller. Then why didn't you put that on your on the medical form? And then in that situation, he may have exaggerated that injury because he threw 200 jabs with that right shoulder in that fight. And he was moving his arm, he was throwing punches. That to me was a different story. But Russell, that arm was rendered inoperable, right? So he shouldn't even have been. He shouldn't have fought. He just shouldn't have fought.
Here's what I'll say before I go to Maestro or Wave. I get it, but in my opinion, if a fighter wants to fight, they should be able to fight. Like, that's just how I feel. That's how I feel. Okay, first of all, it wasn't that bad at first. Magsayo hit him on the shoulder and then he stopped using it cold turkey. Okay, he was still throwing the jab before that, right? That's what happened. Go look at the stat. He went from throwing jabs to throwing no jabs. You can shake your head all you want, but that's what happened.
I can shake my head all I want, and you can be wrong all you want because he wasn't throwing a lot of jabs.
He's shaking it. I got salt and pepper over here shaking your head.
He was not throwing the jab. He went into the fight with a torn. No. He went into the fight. No. He went into my time. He went into the fight with a no. No. You're misinforming people.
I got salt and pepper shaking your head
at me over here. No. He went into the fight with a torn tendon.
Hold on.
He went into the fight with a torn tendon. You're wrong. You're wrong.
I just let you speak.
You're wrong.
Hold on. Let me just say what I'm going to say really quick.
Joe, I'm next. I got it, Joe. Don't worry. I got it.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Okay,
that did not injure
Boxing
the
Wave's
fight.
next. You see?
That's
fine. No, but check it out really quick. So what I'm saying, he went from throwing it to not throwing it at all. That's what happened. I don't know what he wanted.
10 jabs.
Okay, but is it something? It's 10 a number.
It's a shit number.
10 jabs better than no jabs?
It's a shit number.
It's 10 better than none.
Okay,
well,
let me
didn't he say this was an injury from early in his career, his pro career?
And he never got it fixed.
Yeah,
never got it fixed.
And it
Andre
required
Ward
surgery.
fought with he wouldn't even shoot his right hand because he didn't have confidence in it because he had fear they were going to blow it out. That's what happened. He had to have surgery. Then he came back and he looked better than ever in his fight with freaking Kovalev. He even talked about that.
You're not going to
so
tell
what
me
I'm trying to say is
fighter.
Fighters are going to take risk. Fighters are going to take risks knowing maybe it's a calculated risk. It might blow out on me in the fight. But this, I don't care what gamblers did. Oh, I'm a gambler. I should have known that you had this injury, Russell.
What about consumers? What about consumers?
Life's a risk, Life's a fucking risk, Holmes. If you want to go bet money. But just know that anything could happen. All right?
Too bad. You wasted your money on it. You wasted your money.
Okay, Joe, let me cook on this. Okay. Negrito va a cocinar un poco. I'm about to freaking see my brother D style real quick.
Salt and pepper over here shaking your head at me.
Okay, number one, there's a reason why he was able to throw jabs at the beginning and why he wasn't later on with the injury. It's simple. He probably took a painkiller that wore off. His adrenaline probably wore off. Those are two reasons right there, and it was probably a combination of both. That's number one. Number two, how far are we going to logically extend the argument that it should be a fighter's choice? Is it a fighter's choice if he has a broken arm? Is it a fighter's choice if he has a bad heart? Is it a fighter's choice if he's had brain bleeds or if he's got permanent brain damage? Is it a fighter's choice, okay, if he's risking a death imminent death because of a pre-existing condition? No, it's not the fighter's choice. That's why we have boxing commissions. That's why they have medical staff that are supposed to detect these things. I think we need to go a step further. I think that every state commission should have an MRI machine, and that fighters should do MRI scans before their fights. I'd like to see them reinvest some of this money that they pay taxes on to these states, okay, like New York, which, by the way, I live in, which, by the way, taxes us a lot, which, by the way, taxes these fighters a lot. All right, let's reinvest some of that tax money into fighter safety. It should not be up to the fighter, because at the end of the day, all you're doing, if you allow that, is for people under very, very bad economic circumstances to take risks that they shouldn't take. Now, you may say, oh, well, he's got a lot of money. What about the guy that doesn't have a lot of money? What about the guy who is fighting because he's got a kid in the hospital or some other reason, and maybe has a bunch of medical reasons why he shouldn't be fighting? I'm not for that at all.
Any comment on this shot right here?
Yeah. That
I
was
mean, the
gonna
punch
happen.
definitely affected him.
But it was going to happen regardless, because he threw 20 jabs the first 3 rounds, and he had a torn tendon in the right shoulder, right? So as soon as the adrenaline wore off, as Maestro said, and the painkiller wore off, he told you that he went into the fight with a torn tendon. So
Was there a difference
what are you not
between
understanding about that?
Was there a difference between the third and fourth
wait.
round and for the remainder of the fight?
He usually throws way more than 22 jabs.
He threw 22 jabs in the first 3
But that's
rounds.
not the point, though. Like the point
So
is.
your stance is he injured that. You're telling me he
Okay,
wasn't
so
injured going in.
you dictate. You're gonna tell Russell, no, you've been out for the ring. No, you don't fight.
Yeah,
But you call it shots.
absolutely.
Injured, absolutely.
So why couldn't Errol Spence
Because you lost money on
why did
Russell.
Errol Spence fight with a torn retina? Why couldn't Errol Spence fight with a torn retina? He said he could
Because they
see.
caught it.
Okay,
That's
but he
right.
could see. So why couldn't he fight? He wanted to fight. Why couldn't he
Man,
fight?
stop virtual signaling.
No. Why couldn't he fight? Answer the fucking question. Answer the fucking question. Why couldn't he fight? Answer the fucking question. Why couldn't he fight? Why couldn't he fight?
Because they
You
caught it
stop
and he had a
holding your feet to the
tornado.
fire. I'm holding your feet to the fire. Be
They caught it,
consistent.
'cause
Be
did they catch
consistent.
Russell?
Be consistent. Why couldn't he fight? He said he could fucking see. He
Russell
wanted to
could have
fight.
thrown
Why
jabs
couldn't he
at it, like-
fight? Why couldn't he fight?
I
Answer
answered
the
the question.
Like, Margarito
Answer the
wanted to fight
question.
with the bad eye. Should we
Answer
He
the
allow?
did
question.
fight. He fought Cotto. They
Yeah.
let him fight in New York.
Yeah,
They let him fight
New
with
York
a
took
fucked up eye. They
And New
let him
York,
fight in New York.
he
They let him
shouldn't.
fight for 11 rounds.
He shouldn't have been able to
Or
fight.
9, whatever it was.
He shouldn't have been able to
Sugar Ray
fight that night.
Seals.
Okay,
Sugar
but
Ray Seals is blind in one eye
where do
right
we
now.
draw the line? In other
Sugar
words,
Ray
what I'm
Seals
saying
is
is,
blind in one eye. So where's the fucking virtue signal there? Sugar Ray Seals is blind in one eye because they didn't do fucking eye exams and it wasn't required. And he's blind in one eye. Go tell him that.
Gary Russell.
Go tell him your virtue
Gary
signal.
Russell.
Go tell him your virtue signal.
Before we
That's
let,
a fucking
before we
bullshit
let,
argument.
hold
man.
on,
That's
before we let
stupid.
Wade go,
That's
let me just say
stupid,
this.
That's fucking stupid, bro.
No,
What a
no,
dumb,
no,
what
because
a
I'll
dumb
tell you what right
fucking
now.
argument that is. That's a dumb
Come
fucking
on,
argument.
like you
That's a
think
dumb
Russell
fucking
knew?
argument. Okay, let's let people go blind in one eye because they
That's not my argument.
That's fucking
I
stupid.
never said.
Stupid.
Hold on. I never said let people
You're
go blind in
smarter
one
than
eye. When did
that,
I say
brother.
that? What I said was, first of all, this is not even about an eye, is it? The girls have a fucked up eye? No. So I don't even know why you're bringing up an eye. Okay? So let me give you an eye to
Because
an
you
eye.
said people should be able to fight if they're injured. You
No,
have to
that's not what I
fucking be
said. No,
consistent.
listen,
you have
if
to
you
be
stop
consistent.
interrupting for 1 second, I can tell you what I said. And you don't put words in my mouth, okay? This is what I said.
On fucking camera.
All I
fucking
said
camera.
was, this is what I said, Mr. Camera. I know there's a camera.
It's on
I'm looking at it. I
camera.
look good on it too. But what I'm saying is, we need to draw the line somewhere. Gary Russell took a calculated risk. He thought, obviously, that he was going to be able to get through this fight, okay? And I don't think he thought Magsayo was going to hit him right in the fucking shoulder with a haymaker and injure him. I don't think he expected that to happen. He was wincing in pain after he got hit in the shoulder. He was taking a risk in doing it. He thought, you know what, I can get through
Use your
it.
common
Maybe I
sense.
won't be able to throw as many jabs as I usually do.
Use common
But that's the
sense.
choice he made.
Let me interrupt you here. Let's use some fucking common sense. Use your brain for this.
Floyd Mayweather, what does he have? He uses the shoulder roll, right?
What
So when
about
you
it?
get hit in the shoulder like that, your arm's not supposed to do that. If you didn't have a torn fucking tendon in your fucking right arm, that wouldn't have happened.
He
That's
got
common
hit
fucking
from
sense,
this
brother.
angle,
So you're
not
trying to tell
from
me,
this angle.
you're trying to
So-
tell me Mixayo threw a fucking punch and tore his fucking right tendon. That doesn't make sense. Your argument is flawed, brother. It's fucking flawed.
It's not flawed. It's not flawed because dudes do it all the time.
It's
Pacquiao went in there with an injured shoulder.
It's grossly wrong.
Exception.
It's wrong. Floyd Mayweather used to get hit in the shoulder all the time. A whole fucking
Floyd
fight.
said, yeah, his shoulder was injured against Castillo.
Let me ask you this.
Because he had a torn rotator cuff.
Johnny fucked up his head in the middle of the ward fight.
Let me interject.
Like this shit happens, bro.
So a guy who gets hit, a guy who gets punched in the shoulder like that, his arm's supposed to go out like that.
We
His
gotta get
arm
to
went
Wade,
out
but
because he had a torn tendon. You should not be fighting if
All
you have
right.
a torn tendon.
it got bad. It got worse during the fight. It's his right. Look, I'm just saying.
Not his right.
I'm digging the
Let
bell.
Errol Spence fight then.
Roy Jones made a fucking rap beat bragging about how he fought with one hand. Okay?
Okay, so what I will say is this, and I just want to
Rap beat Bernard Hopkins with one hand or whatever the fuck you said.
point on this.
Doesn't make it right, brother.
Very recently, in fact, last month, okay, British boxer, I'm sure you guys heard this, or the Pakistani British boxer, Kash Farouk was forced to retire. I don't think he wanted to retire, but medical reasons forced him to retire. I don't think that if the British Boxing Board of Control and their medical people say that this guy can't fight, that just because he wants to fight, he should be allowed to fight. Are we now going to allow like mentally disabled people to fight? I mean, just because somebody wants to fight, they get.
Come on.
No, but where's where do we?
Give me a break.
You asked the question. Where do we draw the line? Let me ask you.
Give me a break. Are we gonna let mentally ill people?
My
Give me a
rule
break.
is this: if you fail a medical or you don't disclose information that will drastically affect the competitive nature of the contest, there should be no fight. Period.
Maestro, can I ask you a question?
Well, really
How many
quick, because
times-
we gotta let Wave have it, and then we have other topics.
Last
So
point,
go.
and I will shut
Right.
my mouth for the rest of the show.
No,
Now, let me ask
we
you
don't
this.
need that.
No, I'm sorry. Let me ask you this question, Maestro. How many times do fighters get hit in the shoulders throughout the course of a fight? You sparred before. How many times have you got hit in the shoulder?
All the time. In fact,
Now, if someone hits you in the shoulder like that, is your arm supposed to be go out like that? If you didn't already have an
but
injured
Kelly
shoulder?
injured his shoulder against freaking Chris Bird.
Because he
but-
tore
you
it.
act like this
Because
shit
he
doesn't happen.
tore it. Because he tore it.
Well, shame on Vitelli. Shame on him for going in there
You know
tearing
what?
his freaking shoulder.
You're breaking my heart right now because you don't care about your fellow man.
I
You
love
wanna see
fighters.
people die.
I love
You wanna see
fighters.
people-
I have all the respect for them, but I
You
also
want Errol
feel
Spence to go
that we have to
blind.
draw a line
Errol
at some
Spence
point.
Errol Spence wanted to fight.
If a fighter wants to take a calculated risk and go in that ring,
No,
that's like
no,
depending on
no,
the situation.
no,
Depending on the situation.
No.
Okay, did Manny Pacquiao take a calculated risk having an injured shoulder going to the ring with Mayweather? Yes or no? He asked for therapeutic use
can I
suspension.
tell you why? Because I think he over exaggerated the injury. I don't think it was as bad as fucking Russell's.
Maybe it wasn't, but did he? But isn't like if Italian went in there with no injury and injured it, how likely is it if you have an injury that you're going to injure it
Here's
worse
the key difference. Here's the key
in a
difference.
fight stress
He
environment?
told you.
Let me
just say
Just
this
so
last
if they
thing.
tell us it's okay.
He told you.
Thank you.
He told you he had an injury from
Disclosed it.
2008
He
that needed
disclosed it.
surgery. If
He-
something needs surgery, that is not a minor injury. Wave,
Joe,
Wave, can you answer this, Wave? If someone needs surgery on their
ask
shoulder, is
Wade
that
the
a minor
question so he
injury?
can go.
Wave?
No, absolutely not.
Very key.
That's not a
And-
Wave. Is that a minor injury?
No, there's a very key difference. Here's the difference. One guy disclosed it and didn't hide it from medical examination.
And he lied.
And he tell us it's okay.
He
Okay.
lied.
The
He
other
lied
guy
and said it was
disclosed it.
minor. He
The other-
lied and said it was minor,
May-
and then
maybe
he
he
told
just
us
got worse
after
in the
the fight
fight.
it was major.
The other guy disclosed it and it was tested by a doctor prior to the fight. Plain and simple. It's not
He was
complicated.
throwing 20 jabs
He's
around. I think he was all
You're
right.
not a
He was
doctor.
good
Way
enough.
more than 20
Gary
jabs
Russell's
around.
not a
get through it.
doctor.
He usually throws way more than 20 jabs around.
Okay, but like it's
D-style. The
it's a
painkiller
calculated risk.
the painkiller and the adrenaline was going to wear off, D-style.
Really quick,
That was
B, but
gonna
we're gonna let
happen.
Wave go. Then we got to change topics. You don't even.
I don't think either side is completely wrong because I do think the punch actually affected him. I think you guys make a great point as far as him taking pain. He knew the injury was there before going into the fight. for sure. The injury was there. He said it was always there. Something he was supposed to get surgery for it. He never did. But we can't just act like the punch in that fourth round didn't affect him for the rest of the fight, because he went from not using the arm much to not using it at all.
Wave, I agree with you, but that's like saying a guy goes in there with a brain injury and then the brain got hit with a punch and therefore it affected the fight. He still went in with an injury. Period.
No, I'm not. That's the thing. I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is that killed it completely. The injury was already there. It's been there. And once he got hit, that made it worse. I think what D-Style is saying, as far as taking the calculated risk, where there's a lot of fighters that do go into these fights with injuries. Keith Thurman recently said that when he was talking about the whole Cecito Lopez and the Manny Pacquiao fight. He said, listen, I had injuries before going into that fight, but it was Manny Pacquiao. I was not going to risk going into that fight by pulling out of the fight because of the injury. I'm not saying that it's the right thing to do. It's depending on the circumstances. All the circumstances for each fight is different.
That's a very fair point, Wave. My problem is with the keyboard warriors, the sofa mafia that watches these fighters. And I don't know, do they think this is professional wrestling? I don't understand.
No, I want the fighter that's not a keyboard warrior. Let me ask you.
Real quick. I just want to say, I prefer a fighter to reschedule a fight over what the hell Gary Russell just did, because it's like similar with Keith Thurman. Like, let's just say Keith Thurman tomorrow says, I have a little injury. Yo, dude, you're already 2 years. Like, we're already thinking that there's a chance you might not be yourself. Same thing with Gary Russell. We didn't see you in 2 years. We see you, you was a little bit overweight at the weigh-in. So there's a lot of people that think you're going to lose this fight anyway because you're fighting a young, hungry fighter and you've been inactive for 2 years. And then you come out of nowhere and say, I got a little injury. It's like, all right, I don't even know what to even believe at this point.
Wait, my problem.
Let me ask you a quick question.
This is my problem, though. This is my problem with the whole thing.
Real quick, we got 2 more topics.
Yeah, you're right. I apologize. He said it was a minor injury. Can everyone on this panel at least agree that was not a minor injury?
No, it's not at all.
Can we at least agree on that?
He lied.
And he wouldn't even tell us what it was. And then during the fight, Wave, they asked his trainer, and then his trainer said, "There's nothing wrong with his shoulder. He'll tell you what's wrong after the fight." They fucking played us. And it's not about the gamblers, D-Style. It's about people who pay tickets to see a guy who can fight. Manny Pacquiao got sued after that Floyd Mayweather fight.
Yeah.
Okay, but let me say this.
You can't.
Let me ask you a question really quick. Let me ask you a question. This will kill it all. Do you think Gary knew his shoulder was going to blow out like that?
Yes.
He knew that. He went in there knowing I'm going to fight this dude with one hand. He went in there knowing that. Is what he's saying. You don't know that.
Yes.
He thought he could beat the guy with one hand.
He thought he could beat him with one
hand. He thought he was going to be able to minimize the amount of jabs he throws. Okay. And yes, utilize his other hand, but I don't think he knew it was going to go completely out on him. I don't believe it.
Out of curiosity, who do you guys think won the fight?
Magsayo.
I thought Magsayo.
Okay, because it was just like a long wave of people. I don't even think
it was Wave. You know what happened in that fight, in my opinion, Wave? You know what happened in my opinion, Wave?
Yeah.
People saw him fighting with one arm, and they started giving him sympathy rounds, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Am I wrong?
I agree. Like, I was listening to the Porter podcast, and I was surprised how the panel felt. And I'm like, you guys just probably was impressed with the fact that he did that well with one arm and that he didn't get stopped. I don't think you actually believe he won the fight.
The round before he got hit in the shoulder, he only threw 5 jabs, and that was before he got hit in the shoulder. So it started going out on him in the 3rd round, Wave. Not, you know what I'm saying? In my opinion, I'm going to answer D-Style's question. He thought he could beat that guy with one arm. He was that confident. He thought he was that much better than him that he thought he could beat him with one arm.
Yeah.
I just want to know why I said 3 words, and Maestro and people are like,
3 words. I was waiting.
I'm disappointed in you because you want people to heads. You want people to go blind. You want people to go blind.
Check it out. We got to keep it going. We got to keep this going. I have a question for everybody. I want to know what the chat thinks about this as well. Okay. I want to know what the chat thinks, okay? Because there was a time in professional boxing where we only had 8 weight classes. That's it, okay? That's all we had in boxing. All right. We have the heavyweight division, light heavyweight division, middleweight division, welterweight, lightweight, featherweight, bantamweight, flyweight. We don't want a long breakdown. We're just going to go over the names. Okay. We're going to be very brief. We got to get through this really quick. Right. Shout out to Joe B for that. Errol Spence wanted to fight with a torn retina. Should he have been allowed to fight? No, I don't think he should have been allowed to fight given that injury. No, I don't. But with that said,
he said he could see.
Oh, no, but with that said, though, I have a little bit of an echo. Though I don't know what that's about. I have a little bit of an echo.
Let's go to the next topic.
Okay, check this out. Check this out. Hey, thanks for the support, brother. I have an echo. I don't know. Somebody's playing the video or something.
I'm on mute.
All right, so let's go ahead and get this started here, guys. We're gonna go around. Beeb, who would be the heavyweight champion of the world? We only had 8 weight classes today and 1 belt. That's it. A heavyweight champion of the world.
Right now.
Tyson Fury would be the heavyweight champion of the world in any era right now.
Okay.
Do you want me to go down the list, or you just want me to, are you going to do a one fight?
We're going to go around. We're going to Maestro, who would be the heavyweight champion?
Can you do me a favor, D-Style, and just say that these new weight classes were invented for fighter safety in the Suleiman boys?
Sure.
Go for it.
Who do you got, brother? Give me a name.
Tyson Fury. I mean, he's the heavyweight champ. Period. He's he's the king of boxing. The heavyweight champion is always the king of boxing. I don't know about the every era because I think that Lennox Lewis would probably beat him.
Okay, I got you. Who would be the heavyweight champion of the world today? Wave.
Oh, you're talking about all time. When I read it, I'm thinking
No. Today. That my confused you because he went off topic. You know what I mean? No.
Right now, Tyson. I would go with Tyson Fury right now.
So Tyson Fury will be the heavyweight champion of the world today. Okay, all right, cool.
Today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you guys something. Now these Fury fans aren't going to like this, and y'all over there, the chat ain't going to like this, right? 1 belt where you got to be a fighting champion and fight everybody all the time and defend the belt. Usyk will be the heavyweight champion of the world right now. Okay, Tyson Fury would have got to 4 depressions by now. Okay, that's what I think.
Here we go again with the Tyson Fury hate. The man just beat Wilder like 5 months ago. His promoter signed on biggest purse bid ever in the history of boxing to take on a fighter that people have been saying, oh, it's a bad style matchup for Tyson Fury. Oh, but Maestro, he ducks everybody. But wait a second, he's fighting White. That doesn't, like, it wouldn't make sense if he wasn't fighting White, but he's fighting White. In fact, it's White that hasn't signed on.
I'm not saying that.
We're starting to bully D-Star, Marshall. We got to leave him alone a little bit.
No, I'm just saying
we've been working him over all show.
If we had 1 belt, the heavyweight champion of the world would have been Alexander Usyk, because you know why? Because there'll only be one champion. There'll be 1 top 10, and ain't no Tyson Fury sticking around for that. I'm sorry. Like, okay, whoopsie doo, he defended the belt 1 time. Okay, good for him.
You did something you said he would never do, and he did it.
Wow.
You still won't give him the belt. And you still won't give him credit. He's going to defend it 2 times. He's going to defend it 2 times.
Let's go around again, really quick, guy. Really quick. Let's go around again. Light heavyweight champion of the world today. There was only 1 belt. Wave.
Canelo.
Oh man. Okay, Maestro, who will be the light heavyweight champion of the world?
I can't say Canelo because he didn't stay at 175. If he stayed at 175, I might say Canelo, but he dropped back down. So I'm gonna have.
We're skipping divisions though.
We're gonna
160 wouldn't exist, brother. Like you gotta but I need a name though. Give me a name.
Baturviev.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it was either one of those 2.
Beeb. Better Beeb,
yeah.
Good
but
time.
Wave is right. Canelo could have skipped 168 and go to 175. He's right.
There would have been 160. I got Canelo. Canelo will be the light heavyweight champion of the world right now. There was one.
It was between those 2. If Canelo fought Better Beef today, who would win?
But what we're saying though is
I'd pick Canelo. Wave. I'd pick Canelo.
Would have to go straight from 160 to 175.
Yes.
Baturviev without a landing at 168. I don't know if he does that. I don't know if he does that.
I don't know. I don't know either.
No, I don't know neither. I'm just saying it was between those 2 for me.
No, Wave is right. It could. Wave is saying is totally plausible.
we're gonna go around again. Who would be the middleweight champion of the world, Maestro?
Canelo.
Man. Okay. All right. Beeb.
I'm gonna go say Canelo too. I'm going the other way with it.
All right. Okay. Chat, make sure you let us know as well. Who would be the middleweight champion of the world today? Wave.
I didn't include Canelo in this, so I'm including the guys that are there. 160. I would say I'm gonna go with Andrade.
Andre, okay, all right. Andre, okay. Different times, can't duck people when there's only one champion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Canelo, baby, that's what I got. You know what I mean? 2-division champ, like almost Armstrong in it. Now, not quite Armstrong, but almost like 2/3 there. All right, I think Canelo will be the middleweight champion of the world. That's my opinion. But let's go ahead and go to welterweight. Beeb, who would be the welterweight champion of the world right now? Just one. Man.
Terrence Crawford.
Ooh, Maestro.
Same answer.
Wave.
But
I got but two.
no one is.
No, I don't think anybody at 147 and 140, and I don't think any of the dudes from 154 could move down and fuck with them. Like the ones that could make it, I got Crawford all day. All right, let us know. I've got a lot of Crawfords in the chat right there. Okay. What about Mario Barrios? No, he doesn't. No, I'm saying. Will Mario Barrios be top 10? Well, it's weird. I don't think he would. No, I don't think he would. All right, lightweight. Now this one's tough if you think about it.
I like
the
this
lightweight champion of the world, Maestro.
Devin Haney.
Ooh.
He's been avoided by everybody. I mean,
I don't know.
He's been avoided by everybody.
Ooh,
this is the hardest one.
I bet you me and Wave pick the same fighter. Me and Wave are going to pick the same fighter.
Let's see. Well, let's find out. Wave, who you got? Lightweight champion of the world.
This is the hardest one,
man. Do it, Wave.
I gotta say Lomachenko.
There you go, Wave.
He lost to Teofimo. How could he be the champion? He lost.
I know.
Teofimo's gone. Teofimo's not.
I know, but Teo just lost too bad.
And anyone beats this version of Teofimo right now.
Yo, Loma's comeback was crazy though. I like his comeback though. His comeback was
let's
powerful.
See, B.
That's fine, but he lost his title. So
that's interesting.
Lomachenko, man.
Lomachenko. So explain your methodology, B. Like,
I don't think Devin Haney's better than Loma right now.
Yeah, I'll explain to you why. Because this version of Teofimo Lopez, I think Lomachenko would knock out. That's number one. Number two, Devin Haney. I think Lomachenko would beat Devin Haney. I think Lomachenko is just a better all-around fighter. I think he would outwork him. I think he hits harder than Devin Haney. I think Lomachenko could stop Devin Haney, to be honest with you. I do.
Okay, all right. I think the lightweight champion of the world, given because we got to keep in mind is this, right? Does Kambosos get first crack? Like, does he even become the number one contender under this current type of world where there's one top 10, right? I think like he would be right there, and I'm going to go with Lomachenko, believe it or not, which I'm kind of surprised about, but Haney could like we still don't know how good Haney is.
Haney's a good pick, Maestro.
He is getting avoided. You know what I mean?
He's a good pick.
So all right, let's go with the featherweight champion of the world. Let's start with you, Maestro.
Featherweight, for me, this one's pretty simple. It's Emmanuel Navarrete.
Okay, all right. Beeb.
I'm going to say Shakur Stevenson. I think he would go down. I think he would be at 126 instead of 135.
It's a tough one, Wave. What do you got?
I would have to go Shakur if he can come back down. If not, Navarrete for sure. But I'm going with Shakur.
I don't think Shakur would go from 126 to 135. Like if there was only 8.
But it's possible. But
he could do it. But I think right now he would stay at 126 instead of going to 135. I think you'd wait a little bit longer and then go to 135.
Yeah.
If you guys think Fulton could make a run at 126, no. I'm going to have to agree with Maestro. I think Navarrete would be the featherweight champion of the world, in my opinion. Too unorthodox. I think at this point, the way they moved Stevenson like would be like in the top 5 and hasn't quite gotten a shot yet or something like that. That's what I think. Me personally. All right. So bantamweight champion of the world, Beeb.
Easy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no need to. No, I'm only kidding. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I wanted to
Maestro.
It's the easiest one of all of them.
I thought about this one.
See,
and that's included anyone from 115. I love those guys, but I got Inoue stopping them all.
This is the easiest of all.
He's taking Estrada. He's taking. I love them.
Monster.
What does Inoue do singing it's like a rap?
Inoue beats them all. He loses to Fulton at 122 though. I think.
I don't want him to go to 122. I think
neither.
I
think he loses there.
And he's already gone up in weight so many times.
Gallo Estrada. Gallo Estrada is a bantamweight champion of the world in this world with just 8 weight classes. It's my opinion. Okay. I think Gallo Estrada. I'm just letting you know right now.
Nah, man.
Gallo Estrada. That's what I'm talking about. All right.
He even won the last fight, man.
Oh, come on. It could have gone either way.
Nah, he ain't win the last
with
fight.
Old Chocolatito?
Nah, he ain't win that fight at all.
I got one more, guys. Flyweight champion, Wave. Who's the flyweight champion?
I'm gonna go with Martinez right now, man. I'm gonna go with him. I think he beats those other guys. I don't like that Eddie's talking about keeping him down there if he happens to beat Chocolatito. I think he should stay at 150 if he wins. But I think he's the best right now at 120. 112. Yeah.
Okay. Beeb.
Martinez.
Man.
I don't see I can go any other way.
Maestro?
Edwards. Just kidding. Martinez.
I was going to ask you why.
Yeah, definitely Martinez.
I think Chocolatito would do like a Donaire and go back down, and Chocolatito would be the flyweight champion of the world. So
okay, we're going back down. Then I'm gonna say Ioka because Ioka can make that weight class. So I'm changing my answer to Ioka because he beats Martinez.
Oh shit!
Ioka beats Martinez.
Because but I wasn't thinking about him as a 112, but he can make 112. So I'm going to Ioka if that
were to happen. I agree. Yeah. Just like with Shakur, if Shakur can go back to 126, I got him.
Same methodology, fam. Same methodology. Different weight class.
One thing though, and I want to ask you guys real quick: if Shakur were to go to 135. I believe that he has a better chance of being Lomachenko than Devin Haney does.
Oh shit! Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree, Wave. I think he's better than Devin Haney.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I got one more question. All right. Days of Futures Past. I don't know who's familiar with X-Men. You know what I mean? The comic books. There's even a movie about it, and they did in the cartoon as well.
Love the cartoon.
Love that movie. It's one of my favorite.
It was the end of the X-Men. Like all the mutants were getting killed by the Sentinels. So they were able to go back in time, right, and stop the creation of the Sentinels, the different versions of it. But they stopped the creation of Sentinels. They go back in the future, and everything's all great. You know what I mean? It fixed the problem. Now, people keep saying, oh, boxing's dying. I don't think boxing's dying, but it could be doing better, that's for sure. You know what I mean? So if you could go back in time, and you were given the power to change one thing, change, reverse, or stop, whatever it is, what would that be? And how would that make boxing better in the future? When you come back to the future, like, man, boxing's in a better state now. Beeb, I'll start with you first.
I would go back, and I would never allow them to change the championship fights from 12 rounds, from 15 to 12. There's no data to suggest that cutting it down 3 rounds makes it safer. And I don't like the 12 rounds because you have more draws. How many times have we seen a fight and we said, imagine if this was a 15-round fight, this guy would have not made it. So I think it would have given us more memorable fights. And you made a great point earlier when we were talking, when Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fought Sergio Martinez. What would have happened if he had 3 more rounds to work with? I don't think Martinez would have been able to fight 3 more rounds in that condition he was in after that 12th round. So I think it would make for more drama, and you wouldn't have that Sugar Ray Leonard. You're blowing it, son, right? Because he would have lost to Hearns if it was only 12-round fight. So that's what I would change.
Okay, all right. Wave. What would you change?
Yeah, I agree with Joe, but I'm gonna mix that with the it was between that and the multiple belts. You know, just like that whole. I wish it was just one belt. I understand with the money and the marketing and selling fights and stuff is great. But it's just too many title holders. I don't even like saying champions anymore. You're just title holders. I want to know who's really the best. You know, and I think sometimes when fighters lose, you know, just got to work their way back up, win a few fights. This immediate rematch stuff, I think it's just making everything more complicated. We don't know who's really truly the best. So I'll say the belts. I want one belt, one undisputed champion.
Okay, all right. Maestro.
Well, I actually have one, but then I have another one. So I'm going to be real quick with both. The first is that stripping
give him this amazing power, you know,
stripping Muhammad Ali for refusing to do what apparently Wlad Klitchsko wants to do, which is to go to some
I love this kid.
Okay, so the man should have never been stripped of his title for refusing to go and fight the Viet Cong. As he put it, he doesn't have any problems with the Viet Cong. It wasn't them that were denying him his rights.
I got no quarrel with the Viet Cong.
I got no quarrel. Boxing was robbed of Muhammad Ali's prime years. Those would have been the best years of his career, and they were robbed from us. And the second one is you got to go back to Jack Johnson when you didn't have black people being able to fight for the heavyweight world title. You used to have a white world champion, and you used to have a black world champion. And Jack Johnson was not allowed to fight the white world champions of that time. So those are my two.
Interesting fact. I did a translation for Blood Boxing yesterday of an article where South Africa still had a white and non-white champion like in the 70s. Like,
oh yeah,
that's crazy, bro. That's insane. Like, what's up with South Africa? You know what I mean? Like, but with that said, me, I would go back in time. All right. And if I could, I know it's gonna sound crazy to people, but I want to make sure that Pacquiao Mayweather debacle of a fight, that glorified sparring session, never happened because it did more damage to the sport than good. I know people that just gave up on boxing. I'm done with this shit after that fight. Both guys had the worst output I've ever seen from both of them. None of the two had thrown less punches, okay, in a 12-round bout, but they got paid like $300 million between them, like between the both of them. That is unbelievable. I think that fight happening actually did more damage to the sport than good to the sport. Okay, that's just my opinion. If that fight never happened, I think we would be better off today. It's just my personal opinion. And I'd say direct change that I can make without fucking shit up. I feel like if I go too back, I might make shit worse. So I'm just going to like stick to that. All right. But I do like, that's the one I wrote down anyway. But I like what Lee Groves put there. You guys should read it that right down there. So, and I know Boxing Wave touched on that as well. If we could stop all the multiple weight classes, my God, would this sport be great? You know what I mean? It just would. All right. Make sure you guys catch Maestro on Mano a Mano every Monday. New start time. What's the start time?
5:30 p.m. We'll even push for 5, but between 5 and 5:30, we'll be starting live.
And make sure you check out Ringside Reporter every Sunday with Joe Habib. And Boxing Wave, give us some final thoughts before we get out of here, brother.
All right, always great to be on the channel, man. I love the panel. Just subscribe to me on Boxing Wave on YouTube. Hit me on social media at Boxing Wave 10. Definitely hit me on Twitter because I use Twitter now. Like I finally use it, so I'm on there on a regular now. Yeah, just check me out. Subscribe to the channel. I'll be there. Great show. I love being a guest here, man. Great content. Great D-Style. Love it. Love you, bro.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to everybody. This is D-Style Boxing. Keep it boxing. I'm out of here. Peace.